dive straight in.
I'm
Give it a
good.
shot.
We
You
go.
good?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. We will start this session in the mindset that we are on the day of the party. The morning would have passed, and you would have collected your outfits, ready for the afternoon start. So, I want you all to start by redescribing what you're wearing as you leave the beach Leviathan all dressed in your clothes. Who's leading?
Should we roll?
Do we roll for that?
Kind of, yeah,
Ooh.
I suppose. I just want to ask: do we get? We got all the stuff we asked for last time. There was no problems. It's all come through.
Character that the A-Bard leaves first with all his extravagant things on.
No rules.
So we all got what we were asking for anyway.
We got what's coming to us.
So we
I seem to yes, yeah.
so we basically going to the party now,
Sorry.
or
It's later tonight, I think. Or this evening, this afternoon.
Actually, yeah, an afternoon start. We can do it either one or two ways. If there's anything anyone will want to do in the morning, we can do any of those things. But in my head, I think let's head straight there. But
Yeah.
Right.
I'm open to
I just-
whatever anyone else.
One thing, now that we're all dressed up in really extravagant outfits, I say we storm Castle Never and try and solve the mystery before the party.
Yes.
Excellent idea, Anchor.
Hearing
Yes,
the
we'll
word
just pop
castle,
in and
A-Bard like snaps back. It's like, yeah.
And he's just looking at all the notes he's got written for
Yes.
the party. It's like,
I'll
oh,
just
you can do
delete
that if you
those six one-note notebooks.
We've
Not
got
need
ghosts
to make-
to bust,
not
son.
need to make- We've decided we're going to skip the party and we're just going to go raid Castle Never. I hope that's good.
But I've been preparing for this.
Okay. The door of the beach Leviathan smashes open, and you hear A-Bard walk out and go, "Come, fellows!" And A-Bard, beginning from the feet upwards, so that's his fetish, is wearing nothing but, is wearing some nice silken tights,
Wait a
and
minute.
then above that is a black and gold doublet, and around his shoulders he's got this huge fucking puffy fur trim coat, and I'll post the picture of it again back into general, and then he's got a cute little hat on top, and I'll post that into general again, kind of Henry VIII-y.
Nice.
Nice.
Who
So he's-
follows?
It's busted out first. Who was on the list? It looks to be, I think it's Finnan, isn't it? Yeah. Next down. It's a 58.
Philip busts out from brewing, which is what he has been doing all morning. Right?
Yeah, it's absolutely.
What? Just do my spells.
You do whatever you want to
He
do.
does that. Yeah. What's he wearing? I guess is the main
Oh,
question.
oh my god, yeah, sorry. Not a lot. And he thinks, oh shit, runs back inside and dons his finest outfit. So he's wearing his armor underneath, and then on top he's got his fancy new. It's like a monogrammed, like tessellated pattern of like orangutan waistcoat, a fancy ruff,
Ooh. Nice.
and some big pantaloons.
I'm sorry, when you say your armor underneath, do you mean your glamour?
Yes.
Your garment,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool, thank you. Who follows?
Looking at
Yep,
the list.
isn't it?
Oh yeah, look at it. It's me. Yeah. Okay, so let me find. Nubs struts over. He's wearing his deep blue purple robes that go down to just above his ankle. On top of his robes, he's wearing a little, what should we call it? A tunic with short arms. That almost acts like a bit of a robe on top of everything. Slightly translucent purple fabric, emblazoned with stars and moons. He then has a very tall hat with gold and silver embroidery on it. And it's a pointed, almost looks a bit like a wizard's hat. And again, it's got moons and stars and other intricate features. And if you want, I will also put a little refresher picture into the general, should people be interested in that. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Next up is Medica.
Right, so Medica walks out. His head is shinier than ever in the sunlight.
Freshly buffed.
Yeah, freshly polished, and you don't see he has put away his shield that he always carries with him, but he's the only thing you can see that has changed is this huge, like kind of a big black robe, but it's still like fitted to him, so he can move around in it quite nimbly. But still, I'm putting an example in general. So think of a little bit like Jedi robe, but colored like this, with no hoods.
Nice.
And
You said you put an example in general. I just went back and saw the hand-drawn picture of Nicholas.
and the golden highlights are in silver, I think. The fabric is deep black, like almost velour, but something really fine linen.
Nice.
And I hope you cannot see it, but Medica has left his upper part of the armor underneath it, but it's hidden.
Okay. Do you wear anything else? Adorned on you? Any jewelry or anything?
He has his holy symbol on, but it's underneath the robe, and the ring that he has, it is the other way around, that the symbol is facing his palm when he clenches in a fist.
Okay. Thank you. Shamash.
I think next it's Shamash. So Shamash has been sitting at the bar, nursing a small sherry, waiting for everyone to come out, since he is always early. And he steps up, and looking from the top, you see he's wearing a silken Taranthern berzinka, which is a type of what's called turban, with a ruby aigrette, which is a big ruby right set in the middle. And it's surrounded by some Malhorand sapphires, which are little sapphire things. And then they've got a feather assortment, so they've got a phoenix tail feather rising up the top, with a few peacock feathers surrounding the side of it. Going further down, you've got the ceremonial robes of Asgul's, which have a kind of vermilion, sort of deep red base. They've got burnt umber, sort of orange, with a sunburnt yellow sash coming across the side. His sleeves are looped down and have a golden trim around the edge. It's a floor-length robe with bell sleeves and a very cinched waist to show his figure off. There's also a high collar, and it's adorned with gold and jewelled accenting throughout. And so he sort of steps off his bar stool and flows into the procession of the rest of the party.
Awesome.
I've
Everyone walks... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I've asked Dooley to do a picture of that, and it looks hilarious, so I'm going to send it to you.
Please drop
but
it in.
you continue on. Yeah.
As everyone else walks out the door, Unger Bungerson, where are you?
Unger Bungerson is currently sat at the bar finishing a drink with his hat pulled almost over his eyes in a very melodramatic fashion. He steps up, and walking towards the door, you almost hear a clink with each step and a lot of creaking of leather. He's wearing a hell of a lot of leather. As he steps out into the sunlight at the beach Leviathan, you see these superb snakeskin boots, first of all, going up, snakeskin flares up into a quite well-fashioned snakeskin jacket. As he's messing with his hair, you see him place something up in it before he pops on his snakeskin hat. And I'll give you an idea of how it kind of looks. It looks a little something like this. With the hat on.
Amazing. Oh, perfect.
I'm getting the black lung, Pop.
Now, as you all kind of step out of the door of the Beach Leviathan, down the small gangplank onto the harbour side, I'll give you all an opportunity on the walk along. If there's anything, like any last pieces of alignment on before you go in, is there anything that you need to discuss, readdress, anything like that?
So, just to check, lads, the plan, as I recall, is we're going to go to the party, have a bit of a mingle, see if we can learn anything about this artist Simbad chap, and then we'll try and... I believe the plan was we were going to try and feed the investor lad an oyster, and that was going to have the coin in it, so I hope somebody's prepared the oyster.
Who's got the coin?
Um,
You see Nubs' eyes just point out in two different directions. It's like, what?
I thought you had it. No.
I think Villain's got the coin. I could be wrong.
Brennan, why are you talking about yourself in the third person? That's very strange.
Sorry.
really quickly, are we allowed to, would it be a good idea to kind of think of things that we want to take into the party with us that are potentially hidden, or do we have our full inventory with us?
Guess we'll find out when we get there.
I've assumed basically anything but armor. Maybe a singular weapon.
I've got my ceremonial dagger, which happens to be the Misty Shiv, but that's pretty much it.
Okay, I'm just going to put the black knife in one boot, and then the handyman in his other boot. And I'm set.
Abard, of course, is going to go with the immovable rod, and he's got his dagger with him as well.
Medica has masterfully hidden the warhammer under his robe, behind his...
Right up his ass.
Yeah. Like almost like under robe and behind his back into his belt, kinda. So it's so he cannot
the
sit
hem
down,
is-
basically.
I was going to say, so it's like down one leg in his trousers. It's like the. So
Yeah,
walks like
he is
like-
gonna stand upright all the time. He's not gonna sit down.
Can I check if wearing a sword to said party will be considered uncouth?
Andy, we cannot hear you.
I'm not speaking. I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay.
That'll be why.
Say anything on the invite about
Immediate
weapons.
answers.
No, well, I'll be wearing my sword, gentlemen, and let's see what happens.
I say, so Nubs has his bow very carefully hidden, so the top of the longbow is at the top of his little hat that's running down his back.
Oh my
So-
god.
But it means that he can't turn his neck. So other than everything else, he looks fine. He's got a big flappy robe on. It's not very obvious. He just has to turn like Keanu Reeves.
Body, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is anyone else conspicuously hiding anything?
Unger will conspicuously just take his maul with him, just in hand. So you'll see if we can get in with that.
Oh, I should say as well, Nubs has his little hammer tucked into his boot.
I'm going to most likely have to re-ask people what they've kept with them. But but if you, no, it's all right. We'll do it later. Okay.
Let's
Does
just
that
nobody take the piss would probably be the ruling this.
Anybody else got any anything they want to chat about before you go?
Just to say, I'm bringing a book with me, and I'm leaving my shield at home.
Anything else?
Book.
Hmm.
book, eh?
I've got some other like small items like a wand.
How large is the book? Can Medica see the
Wand.
book?
A book. Just 2 harmless items, a wand and a book.
Yeah.
Stuffed into my armor.
You wouldn't-
Conveniently.
You wouldn't part an old man from his mysterious book of necromancy and walking stick, would you?
There's no. I'm not bringing a staff with me.
Oh, can I have one more thing? Actually, I've decided. Sorry. I have Moggy, the frog, is on my shoulder, and I even have a picture for him. I've got placed. There we go in the general.
Oh,
Sat on his shoulder.
Moggy's not coming out in a while.
Yeah, it hasn't,
Right.
has he? I keep forgetting about him. So he's there. Yeah, he's sat on the shoulder.
Right, well, before we head off, just one final question. Who has the oyster, and can I check if we are bringing a single oyster?
Moggy's holding the oyster, aren't you,
oyster
Moggy?
at the party.
What? 1 second. Unga rushes off down the dock, fading to, hoping to find a fisherman somewhere on the jetty
Squeaking.
and grab some oysters off him. With the morning haul.
Old wind blows. Nubs turns around stiffly, looks at his companions. He'll probably find one, right? A hot, prickling sweat builds upon Nubs' forehead. He's now worried they've not planned well enough for this adventure. Feels like
Okay.
we're forgetting something. Sorry.
If there's nothing else, then we will begin our way to the Roaringhorn estate.
Excellent.
That was good.
Splendid.
Walking in a line, down and through Neverwinter, through the streets that you have begun to become so well accustomed to. The afternoon is humming with a flutter of hummingbirds and the sweet smell of honeysuckle once you walk into the Tower District, this lush area of the city. Walking down the roads, the cobbled streets are kind of covered in the last of the fallen blossom of apple trees that adorn the sides of the street. And the smell of herbs, lavender, rosemary are rich and fill your nostrils as you walk further into this district. Now as you turn several corners and make your way, guiding yourself through the streets, you begin to open out into a square, and the gates of the magnificent Roaringhorn estate stand before you. The familiar gates from where you didn't so long ago stand, but the gates this time, well, before they were closed, are now open. And I'd ask, Abard, you're up front, make me a perception check.
Wow.
Ooh.
With a natural
man.
20,
Fucking hell.
you clearly see a very familiar human guard, and you remember his name to be Jodok Botrel, who stood there previously after he was maimed severely by a bear, and you see this huge tear mark down across like his kind of navel and down his throat. He looks like he's trying to put on a smile to the rest of the guests that you start seeing going through the gates. And he quickly clocks you, and his face changes into that of something of distaste. And you kind of quite clearly in these gates like remember this scene where he was viciously attacked through the chaotic Blue Summonu, and he kind of stares at you as you approach.
I hope he remembers me saving his life. Like I whispered, whispered to Unga.
Oh, Jonah, you've barely changed a day. How are you?
He goes to speak, and he can't speak. And you realise that the scar that goes down his neck and everything must have done some serious damage to the internal parts of his throat. He kind of lets out this kind of gravelly, like kind of little rattle, as he tries to kind of almost make a sound back to you, but his voice is lost.
Sorry, one more time. That was actually a bit grisly.
He just kind of stares back at you, just like dead in the eyes.
He asked you a question, damn it, man. Shamash asks.
Honestly, they didn't notice it.
I remember not really healing him, just saving his life. What if I walk next to him and place my hand on his shoulder and say something unrecognizable and come on, man, you can speak. And cast a Cure Wounds on. Fuck it, I'll throw level 2 Cure Wounds. Targeting specifically his vocal cords.
So, as you do so, he kind of, his expression, like, he's weirded out by the fact that you just immediately go out and touch him, and he almost cowers back slightly. But as you do place your hand on him, you feel this kind of energy pour out of your fingers as you're so used to doing. And he kind of stops as he obviously feels this kind of warmth go into the side of his body. And he kind of stares back, surprised. And he goes to speak. And you do hear words come out. Thank you. And he kind of looks confused as he's hearing his own voice for the first time in a long time. And just stares back at you, grabs your hand and shakes it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No need to thank me. You earned it by standing at your post after such a predicament. I can respect that.
I'll do the best to feed my family, sir. Please, you're all here for the party, yes?
Indeed.
No.
Please make your way down this through the gates. Go directly to the main doors and go past through the hallway. They'll take your names and your items, and they'll make sure you can get in.
At this point, can Unga point behind the guard and go, "Watch out, bear!"
he cowers. Ah! Like total PTSD, and he lies on the floor, kind of trembling ever so slightly for a while before he kind of pushes himself back up and realizes that he's been had.
Torture.
Medica immediately regrets that he healed him.
Unga is just laughing, almost to the point where he's like coughing and wheezing. He's laughing that much.
Bloodshot red eyes.
Yeah. And when he goes back to his feet, he gives him a reconciliatory slap on the back. Only joking.
Now, I will, if I can find it, reshare and remind you what the Roaringhorn estate looks like.
Ah, yes.
Not bad set of pigs.
This grand place with this walkway that descends down into the front gardens, a fountain, and making this very relaxing sound of water falling. And the doorways to the hall in front of you are open. Now, as you enter in through this wide hall, 2 seated men stand waiting for you. And one of them announces, "Good evening, gentlemen. May I ask you to please present your invitations?"
Why, yes, of course. Finnan, please present them our invitations.
Finnan ruffles through his pocket and brings out the one he has. Here you go.
Thank you. And you are, please, so I can tick you off the list.
Finnan Bracefoot, low profiler extraordinaire.
Ah, yes, the low profilers. I have you down here. Welcome, gentlemen. Enjoy your afternoon and evening. Please, if you go and see my colleague here, he'll take any items that you may wish to store away. And kind of pointing you down to the next set of people. Another human male in his kind of late 70s, quite old. As you all approach, kind of stares back at you. Hello, sirs. Please, may I ask you to hand in all of your weapons, magical items, staffs, wands into this box, please. We'll keep it for safety, of course, but no weapons allowed inside the party, I'm afraid.
Nubs stares blankly, stiffly but blankly. Hasn't said a word.
Can I ask you to make me a deception check, Nubs?
Absolutely, of course. Nubs is good at that.
Oh,
Ooh.
17, you stand rigid, and he just kind of looks over at you. He's like, nothing for you then, my friend.
Back.
You, sir, whoever's next. Anything you would like to put into the box for safekeeping?
Abard has what is quite obviously a massive two-handed greatsword, sort of like one at his hip, as though it's like a little like dainty accessory. This is, well, you see, I'm a Damaran, and actually, weapons are a very important part of our culture, and it's actually quite deeply offensive for me to be asked to be disarmed. So, and actually, sort of, it also kind of brings the whole outfit together, to be honest.
Roll me a deception check.
I do that as a persuasion.
Yeah, I think persuasion.
Okay,
would-
persuasion.
that's
maybe.
great.
Yeah, it's more of a persuade, isn't it?
Oh.
Kind of.
Nice. Very nice.
The old man looks at you up and down. And he just kind of stares blankly into your eyes. He says, in the box, please, sir.
Yes, very well. And I give him my hand over my greatsword.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Who else has got like I mean, I think Unger, you had your maul.
Yeah, I'm stood there just with my maul in two hands, just gripping onto it tightly, looking at my maul, looking at this man.
The leathery squeak as you tighten your
Yeah.
grip on it.
Kind of.
Not just from
kinda-
like the thing, but from your suit as well.
He kind of leans over to kind of like hold the shaft of the maul and looks up at you. Sir.
Gripping it tightly, and I look in his eyes and said, "You look after it."
Of course, it's just merely going in the locker rooms, yes.
Unger very unwillingly lets go and kind of lets a big sigh out.
He also lets out a sigh of just like pure relief.
I imagine you squeak again as you sigh, Johnny,
Yeah.
is collapsing into your throat.
Yes, I'm shuffling and settling in my posture. The suit's just squeaking.
He also squeaks as he lets out a nervous fart. He quickly lets out a cough as he hands it over to his colleague and puts it in the box.
Sinan hands over a crowbar from his inventory, which he
Kind of-
left in by accident.
He grabs the crowbar like, interesting to bring along with you. And he puts it down.
It's very important to me.
I see. And excuse me, sir, your tome, is it?
My book,
Yes.
A History of Devastation.
Is it something to do with one of your meetings?
I was hoping to discuss the historical nature of it.
Okay, roll me a persuasion.
I'd say deception because you're lying, but. Oh,
All
okay.
right, that
Take
yeah.
Yeah, I guess you are persuading him of it. Yeah, trick, isn't it?
With a 12, he kind of narrows his eyes. And excuse me, who are you meeting with today?
I have an open schedule.
His eyes narrow even further. You have no appointments.
Except for meeting Lord Roaringhorn, of course.
Roll me a. Well, no, that's. He's gonna. He rolled a 3 on an insight check. He stares back at you and he's like, "Oh, with Master Roaringhorn. Yes, of course. Keep the tome. Keep the tome, of course.
I mean,
it's
if you're desperate to have the Academy of Devastation a history, I
No.
can hand it over to you.
No. It's all very well. If it's part of your meeting, it's part of your meeting. That's what matters.
No problem. Thank you.
My word, sir, Draconian. I have not seen a Draconian Neverwinter for some time. Our bar, Sir Roaringhorn, of course. Please, the traditional dress is incredible, but I must ask you for your dagger.
Will you give me all your clothes? because without this dagger I am naked, and that is what you are asking me to do. It is part of the ceremony in draconian dress, as you must well know. Of course, it could do no damage whatsoever. If you will happily give me all your clothes and an ounce of blood, then I will happily hand over my dagger.
Well, could you roll me an intimidation? Is that? Are you trying to intimidate him by the sounds of it?
Probably.
Oh,
He normally is.
He looks quite confused at first. He's trying to rack his brains, like, is this traditional wear? And he's like, my sir, I did not mean to cause you any offense. By all means, keep it part of your outfit. I am very sorry. And he bows his head deeply to you.
I understand, my friend. Our ways are not customary here. You are not to know. I took you for a man of more learning than you actually are, but I forgive you this time.
Nice.
Trash turns and just walks off now.
Sir, and he looks at you, Medica. Anything you would like to hand in?
Medica carries himself with his new attire graciously, and he emits this holiness around him, but he is standing with his back straight and most stoic face he can muster. Just looks at him.
He just kind of stares at you. Well, yes, but look, with that, I assume we have everything. Please head on through. If you take your first door on the left, you'll head into a lounge area where you'll meet some of my acquaintances, and you may give yourselves your address for your formal announcement into the meeting of the minds. Thank you, sirs. Have a wonderful evening.
Yes, we will.
cheers, mate.
Thank you.
No.
Not my captain.
Making your way further down this hallway, and you start to notice now some of the decor in this place is full of just like these old historical pieces, like within glass cabinets. You see a number of shelves, pieces hung on the wall. You see like horns, some look like to be old weapons. You see vases, a massive array of different items and objects that don't all seem to come from any particular timeline of history. They all seem to be from all over the world and from all aspects of time. Passing through into this door that the gentleman has pointed out to you, you enter into this small lounge area, this kind of box room. As you pass in, there's this huge kind of stuffed wild bison, just kind of like standing there in the corner. You see a number of chairs. On the other side of the room is this like large glass cabinet with this spiked sword that is just hung up within the room. Now,
really quickly, can Unger roll an intelligence check to see if he determines it's a living bison or a dead one?
yeah, 100%.
Yep. Oh, that's a shame.
For a second you stir, but you do suddenly realise that his eyes are dead and lifeless. Now, at the end of in the centre of the room, you see this large round table that is occupied with fully brimmed tall crystal glasses, all bubbling with this kind of yellow, orange, gold liquid that you would assume is some form of champagne or something of similar taste. At the end of the room, in the top left corner, you see this pair of people talking to people in the doorway. You see this kind of like long blonde hair of the one of the men who are kind of in deep conversation with these two people standing at the doorway. He's wearing this kind of like beige kind of canvas suit with shorts, and next to him is a lady with long kind of black, almost blue hair, and a long flowing blue velvet dress. Now, it isn't. It's for a moment you kind of struggle to catch glimpses of who they're talking to, but eventually you kind of see as this pair of people walk further into the doorway. You notice that one of the people that they are speaking to is a familiar elven woman, and you would remember her name to be Duraxia, the elven lady that met you at the gate at the Roaringhorn estate. Not so long ago.
Medica plushes a little bit, but goes away.
Does he cover his mouth like a little?
No. He's just almost a little bit embarrassed as he goes away.
So she wears a glamorous purple satin dress and these large golden earrings that dangle from her ears. She's tall in stature and quite beautiful. Next to her, you see as this pair start to walk even further into the door as they're finishing up their conversation. You see a red-scaled dragonborn, caped in a green velvet jacket and orange breeches. On his nose, a pair of small full moon spectacles. He looks in his senior years with some evidence of kind of greying scales running down his ears, down to the back of his neck. He doesn't really seem to be talking to this pair of guests. He's just nodding slowly. But on top of his head, you notice these two grand horns that kind of feed back down the back of towards the back of his skull. And on the end of these horns, both are tipped with these kind of gold cones, like some grand type of jewelry with etchings, all adorned across in this precise detail. Now you have a moment in this reception area as these guests in front of you are still speaking to the elf and the dragonborn. And I'll give you a moment between yourselves before we start to pass through.
I'm just going to grunt loudly as he sees the elven woman. And start, he's going to sort of posture up and stand a bit straighter.
Nubs gives Abard a bit of a nudge with his little elbow into the leg, say, "Posh billet, eh?" Sort of opens his eyes, looking at him, as looking up as much as he can with the bow still by the back of his neck.
I almost have to bend at the hips to look up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even that's tough because the bow is definitely down his trousers too.
Now, Grimwick, play it cool. Play it cool.
Said it was posh.
Medica comes back, and as you can see, he comes back from a table which had a platter of champagne glasses, all empty now. Medica comes back a little bit. Right.
Shamash is just absolutely stunned to see a dragonborn elder this far west, and is suddenly incredibly self-conscious, looking down at his robe, thinking, "Oh God, these aren't fine enough." I just went for the casual dragonborn robes. I thought no one would notice.
Can Abard do a perception check to see if the other dragonborn looks significantly fancier than Shamash?
Yeah. So looking at the dragonborn, he doesn't look. If you were to look at him and then look back at Shamash, Shamash is like this emblazoned. I mean, he looks basically like a golden psychedelic peacock. And then you look back at this elder dragonborn, and he looks much more of kind of your ilk, Abard, from like the nobility of your area. Much more plain in terms of elaborate in dress, still bright colours, but nothing too fanciful. He's kind of stripped back, and actually, it kind of rings that he doesn't really seem to be wearing much in the way of like what would be dragonborn attire. It's much more human centric.
Feeling a bit underdressed, Shamash?
Compared to an elder, I could never be fully dressed. But it is strange he has eschewed our normal convention. I must speak with him further. Perhaps things have changed since I was back in Pymantha. Shamash is just incredibly nervous now.
Okay. Now, as the guests that they're talking to just peel away through the doorway, the elf turns to look at you all. She looks down at she looks over at whoever's first. I'm assuming that we're going in the order in which you rolled as kind of like your marching order in a way.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fair enough.
It's A,
So,
right?
yeah. So, Diraxia looks over at you. He's like, "Your invitations found their way to you, then."
Indeed, it must have been fate.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry about the delay. We had hoped to get you here sooner, but unfortunately, we had a bit of a mishap with our catering. And the Dragonborn kind of turns and stares at you all, and the elf says, "May I introduce you all to Lord Zelleran Roaringhorn? My lord, these gentlemen are... Ah, yes. The folk with the bear." And he looks over at you, Nubs. "And you were the one in the hedge, eh?"
Don't know what you're talking about, says Nubs, shifting side to side. Yeah,
Well, we must admit
Well,
we did not know where the bear came from. It was quite disturbing. Because obviously I don't think the rest of the party does know, apart from the Blue Summonoo, right?
So with that Roaringhorn kind of stares at Finnan directly. He's like, "Yes. I wonder indeed."
I think when
You get
Finn looks over and goes, bears are quite peculiar.
I think when that thing happened, about half of the squad didn't know where the bear honestly came from.
No.
I remember Medica rolled a perception to figure that out, at least.
Yeah.
I think Nubs does know. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
Nubs
he was stood
knows,
next
at
to
least, yeah.
Finnan when that happened.
Yeah.
Really
Tell me,
semantic
Lord.
question here, by the way, but is Roaringhorn spelled with a hyphen, or is it just one word?
Oh, all one word. Roaringhorn.
Cool.
It's on
Thanks.
the invite for the 173rd meeting of the Minds.
Oh crap, you are right, actually.
Tell me, Lord, do you get bear attacks here often?
In Neverwinter? No, I can't say we do. Now with this, Diraxia kind of looks at you all, almost kind of noticing another bunch of guests who have arrived in the lounge area behind you through the door. "I'm aware that you wanted to speak to my master. I have booked you some time, in a few hours' time in the map room. I will find you when it's time. But for now, please enjoy yourselves. My colleague Willem, through the next door, will take your names for announcing your entry as his custom."
Splendid! Thank you. We shall speak later.
Roaringhorn just nods at you all. As so, remind me of the marching order, and one by one you can walk past him. Abard kind of just stares at you, looks to the next person.
Finnan.
Finnan, he just kind of watches you as you walk past, kind of
That's all
squinting
waving
his
a
eyes.
hello.
Then it's Nubs.
He just kind of stares. He lets out a little smile as he sees you, Nubs, walk past. But he
Nubs
does. In fact,
Nubs
No.
is waddling a little bit as he
yeah,
walks in.
he kind of like again squints his eyes as he stares down at you, but he quickly pays his attention to.
Nub turns
next-
to look up at him a little bit like.
Yeah.
It's like
I
arms
believe-
straight down.
I believe it's Shamash next.
Yes, and he's obviously doing a sort of low bow, keeping his body low to show his supplication to the elder Dragonborn.
He stares back at you for a moment and just kind of almost looks quite bemused and just kind of shakes his head and strange under his breath. Now with
Got,
Medica.
Medica was before Shamash, but I'll
Oh,
let
sorry.
it slide this time.
Details.
Standards are slipping these days.
Well,
Stares at you, Medica, for a moment and almost looks confused. And I'd ask you to make me a perception check. You almost stare back at him for a moment and... Weird. Weird feeling. I'm not quite sure what it was, but strange. And Unger. Is there anything you do as you pass him, or he just kind of each time that you move and there is a squeak, it kind of like grinds in him.
Right. Unger's going to go to take his hand to shake it.
He looks down at your hand and reluctantly holds out his in this kind of daintily
Go on,
fashion.
Squeaker.
Unger firmly grasps it, gives him a big old pat on the shoulder and a big toothy caveman smile.
You almost knock the air out of him slightly, but he kind of then just like turns his attention to the next set of guests.
Before that happens, can Abard then immediately shuffle back? And like, sorry, I think I actually missed my cue. Baron Abard Helmer the First, Mara, thank you.
Yes, I'll speak to you later. Thank you.
Yes.
And as you pass through into through the doorway into this kind of little just tiny room, it's really just like a kind of another doorway, and a small man stands there with a list in his hand, and you see the pair that had preceded you had just finished talking to him, and they begin to make their way in, and as the small man holds a small stick to his jugular, which you quite quickly realise is some form of wand, and he with a booming voice that you hear echo out into the room next door, introducing from the jungles of Cult, Baz Balano, and Harbour Master of Neverwinter, and Joint Chief of the Sword Coast Seafaring Assembly, Antoinette Varion. And you just kind of see the pair stroll off into the room. The small man takes the wand away from his neck and he turns to you all, observing you. Hello, sirs. Please, may I take your names for announcing you?
Right, yes, if I'm entirely honest, I thought that was the last bloke. Baron Abard Helmer the First, thank you, of Damara.
Baron Abard the
Helmer.
Oh,
Yes.
Helmer, sorry. Yeah, Helmer the First. Thank you. Yes. You guys are going to have to go in the order.
I believe it's either
Finnan
Finnan or
is here, I
Nubs.
think. I think it's Finnan. Is he here?
I'm just working on mine.
I can go first
so-
if you want, dude.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Ah, Nubs Grimwick, cobbler at large. I'm from Kibbosh. It's south of here. You've probably never heard of it.
No,
Just
I've never
nice.
have. No.
Well.
Where did you say it was again?
Oh, down in the Gnomish homelands. I've got it written down. I've got it. Hold on. I have to actually know which region he's from, but I'm not sure.
Just something sharp and snappy, just for the intro. That's all I need.
Oh, Kibbosh. It's well known in this region.
Okay, thank you. And yes, sir.
Okay. Fidden Bracefoot of Methwood, brewer of mushrooms, destroyer of small businesses, and friend of apes.
This is rather long. May Meta. May you type it into the chat.
Can you write that down for me?
Yeah.
In fact, that would be easier for me in general.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Next, yes, you.
What is the name of the continent map we're playing on, by the way. I keep forgetting.
Fairn?
Faerun.
Faerun, that's it, sorry. Okay, cool.
Is it Medica next?
Yes, sir.
Medica Insanus, Grand Priest of the... I just had it in my mind what I could call it. Tartar. A great... great...
Tartar.
Yeah.
Is that is in the sauce?
No.
Maybe.
Great god from the northeast.
Heard he's made of tartar sauce.
Delicious. That's our thing.
Thank you. And yes, you sir.
I am thinking Cabradon Shamash of the Tamanthan lands.
Thank you. And yes, sir. You yourself.
Unga Bungerson. I have no family, no land.
I'll just keep it as Unga Bungerson then, shall I?
Unga Bunga
Yes,
son
that's
of
my
Bunga.
And sorry, I should have asked this. Do you have a collective name? I believe we have a few this evening, but I don't know which group you're part of.
The low profilers. Yes.
Yes. Ah, yes. I heard of the work that you did in Bryn Shander, I must say. A plausible ran. Very good show.
Indeed.
I turned to Ava and said, nice to get some recognition.
About time, I'd say.
News travels slowly in this land, I'm afraid, my sirs. But I heard it first in the speakers' hall just a few days ago, telling of your tale. And the newsreader often speaks of the events of Bryn Shander and the group that fought the battle against the Frost Giants. Very, very brave.
I climbed
Yes.
one.
Very good.
Yes.
Anyway, sirs, I'm afraid I must take the names of these fellows behind you. But please let me announce you, and we may go in. And he holds the wand to his neck, looking down at the piece of the sheet of paper. Introducing the Low Profilers, Baron Abard Helmer the First, Nobs Grimmick, Cobbler at Large of Kibosh, Finn and Bracewood of Methwood, Brewer of Mushrooms, Destroyer of Small Businesses, and Friend of Apes. And we also have Fenking Cabadon Shamash of Timantha, Medica and Sanus, the Grand Priest of Tata, God of the Northeast. Sorry, I'm reading my notes, but
Yeah.
Grand Priest for the Great Ter, God from beyond the White Peaks, and Unga Bungerson. Did I miss anyone?
I think that's it, isn't it?
I think that's everyone.
That was good.
Yeah.
So, as your names are announced, you walk out into this kind of grand hallway, this large marble room. The floor is this kind of like white, silvery marble, and you see there's a good kind of like 50 or so people in this room right now, as they're all kind of mingling glasses of champagne and prosecco and things like that. But what takes your notice is this huge sculpture that sits in the center of two red velveted carpeted stairways that kind of go around in this semicircle, arching up towards onto the second floor. But this sculpture is this image of an elf fighting against this large, like almost dragon-like snake. But what you notice is that it is engulfed in what looks like sea, a stormy sea that is just wrapped around them both. other than that, you see a number of different stuffed animals in all the different corners of the room. You see like a tiger, this ostrich. You see like a liger and things like that. There's all sorts of different things all adorned across the walls. And I will.
Medica will roll a charisma saving throw on the painting of Elf fighting the big serpent in the stormy sea. Oh,
Holy shit!
because it touches his soul. He likes it.
Now,
Medica literally creams himself at the sight of it.
through this, Medica, looking at it, you stand in awe by this grand sculpture, and it rings something within you. And you start to look at not just this, but some of the other images all across the walls. You see these paintings, oil paintings, canvases, all framed in these quite illustrious golden frames, but you notice a theme around all of them. They all have these scenes of wild weather events, like tide waves. You see large bodies of ocean and stormy skies. And the sculpture in the middle is just an exquisite piece of art, and it really rings true in your heart. Now,
Unger hates it.
I imagine he would.
Absolutely hates it. He's not going anywhere near it.
Too watery and windy for Shamash as well. Doesn't fit with his modus operandi.
Now, as you kind of walk into this room, you hear the announcer again, like booming out through this large room that you're now stood in, and you hear, "Lady Jassur of the Waterdeep Department for Societal Affairs," and you see this tall lady walk into the room, almost kind of gliding through. She kind of looks quite perturbed. And she walks over to a corner as she immediately sees someone that she needs to speak to. And she walks directly to them, cutting across the room. Now, there are a number of people in this room, and the crowd is bustling. There is over in one of the corners a small kind of like quartet that are beginning to set up. But in the meantime, you hear this kind of music, this lovely kind of flowing music, ruminating through the room. You don't know where it's coming from, and you can't see the source, but it seems to just be ever present around you. So you're in the room. I passed you.
Medica does
Anybody?
not do anything. He just stands and looks at the statue.
Champagne? Anyone? Champagne?
Oh yes, that would be lovely, thank you.
What is champagne?
It's fizzy wine, Brett. It's quite nice. Should
Fizzy?
you be? It has bubbles that slay on your tongue, like angels sleeping.
Sound good. I want to.
Yes. Well, let's see if a boy comes round with them. Shamash looks around, staring.
Imagine
there.
Shamash says garçon instead of boy as well.
Garçon.
Garcon. Garcon.
And with that, a small boy, kind of like in his early teens, you see his kind of like pale grey skin. He's like a young half orc, and he looks nervous, kind of shaking with his tray. Drink, sirs.
What does Garcon mean? What language is that?
Finland goes, yes.
Unger takes one in each hand.
Abard picks one, like kind of reaching out for the tray over Nub's head, because he's and turning back to, and then to Nubs goes, "I believe it's Elvish for young lad."
Ah, go on then, pass me one, would you, sir?
The boy kind of kneels down to offer you the tray.
Thank you very much.
Shamash also takes on without looking at the boy in his eyes. No,
Can,
there's a clear interior.
Can Finn quickly scan the scene for any potential dark corners, hidden away little areas?
Yeah, roll me a perception check.
Cool. One of my D&D Beyonds just crashed.
Woo. Yeah, Nubs make a quick toast then in Gnomish. Right then, see the bottom of that, lad?
It's both, please.
And with that, so Finnan, as you're kind of looking around, you notice several doors. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 doors at various different parts of this room that you don't know where they lead off. They're all closed, but no one's guarding them or anything like that. They're all available to you. You look around and see at the top of the staircase. It doesn't seem like people are going up the stairs. Everyone's kind of mainly communed in this large area.
Cool.
Unger's gonna down his 2 glasses of champagne, put them down somewhere, and take his hat off, revealing his long, luscious locks of hair. Within them is a moonstone comb that he placed in there just after he left the Beast Leviathan.
Nice. As you all stand milling around, looking at the crowds around you, is there anything you do? Or
So, I don't suppose anybody has an inkling as to who good friend Gundren's investor might be in the room.
I think
But-
we'll wait for
say-
the announcement, won't we?
Yeah, he'd be coming with. What was Gundren's friend's name?
Good joke.
But Redmond,
Nelkin Danica.
Nelkin
Danica.
Snazda. Nelkin Snazda. Oh. Everyone raise me a Nelkin Snazda.
I'm gonna raise you an Nelkin
Nelkin.
Danica.
Nelkin is the rep that Gundren
Yeah.
wants us to try and meet.
It's his
Who's-
friend though, who's coming
Yeah.
with him, and he's
Yeah.
a
We don't
showboat.
know his name.
I guess somebody stayed near the announcements, and the rest of us can go schmooze.
Yeah, but because there's going to be Gundren Ruhund, who was his mate, who we met with him, and then Nelkin is one of the people he's meeting, and then he'll be coming with an investor.
Yeah.
I think
Oh.
is the plan.
And don't forget, we should ask around about Artus Sinbar while we're at this party. I think that'd be a good idea.
Indeed. What do you say? Should we mingle as a group or shall we mingle individually?
Let's go as a group.
I feel like we should split up. Or maybe it's a group. Yeah, it's more intimidating.
Why don't we divide into, say, pairs or threes? That might provide more conversation.
That probably makes much more sense, yeah.
Thank you.
In
Massive
Sorry,
Well
you
done, Ben.
exclaimed there. What's going on?
Yes.
Excuse me?
So we've got some time, I think, before Gundren's guests will arrive. So maybe if we just split off into pairs and go and mingle with different groups, we might get the lay of the land.
Yeah,
Yes.
immediately points at Finnan. Finnan. It's me.
Okay. Finnan looked worried for a split second. I went, sure. Let's go.
What do you say, Shamash? Should we go and rub shoulders with our like?
I believe so. I think we can leave these two to it, can't we?
God.
Nubs takes his chance and looks up at Medica. So, guess we're going to be mingling together, eh? Hey.
Media's still looking at the statue. It's not
Yeah.
doing anything else. Just looking
Okay,
at the statue.
well, I'll start mingling, and you can catch up with me when you finish. When you finished.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll head over then. Nubs wanders off without him. Nubs walks
Okay.
up to a couple of people. Should ask who does Nubs see in front of him as he wanders up to the nearest couple talking to each other?
So actually, the first person or the pair that you see, they're actually the pair that you followed into the party, and up close, you remember the name Baz Bolano being announced as you waited for your turn, and I'm pretty sure I can share this. Baz Bolano is sipping on a large glass of wine, and is that showing for you?
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Yeah, it's like fucking Steve Irwin.
He's
Is that a bit AI?
no, it's not.
His fingers
and,
look a bit weird.
Literally Steve Irwin.
He's kind of like in loose conversation. He already seems relatively drunk at first view. And you see the kind of person that he's walked in with most likely isn't his actual like partner or anything. They seem to be kind
That
of
is
locked
so
in,
AI.
difficult conversation. Actually, I think I might have done it in AI. I can't remember.
Look
But
at his teeth and fingers.
Yeah, his
as,
fingers.
he's kind of just like slurring some words out to this lady, and actually as soon as you arrive, he looks over, he's like, boy heck, look at this little fucker down here. All right, mate, who are you?
Nubs just says his name back to him for some reason to start the conversation. Baz Bolano. I mean, I'm Nubs. Nubs Grimwick.
Good to meet you, mate. And as he's distracted with your presence, you see the woman that he entered in with, Antoinette Varion, just kind of like sidle away, like slowly, and then just kind of like shoot off into the crowd to kind of get away from Baz. And he kind of he shakes your hand. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're the one from Kibosh, was it? That they said."
That's right. Cobbler at large. Hey, got any got any holes in his shoes? I'll sort them out.
Yeah.
Oh, Baz, how you doing yourself, mate? You looking yeah, suntanned. There's no squinting.
Ah, you get that down in Cult, you know, and fuck shoes, don't need shoes, and he's just like completely barefooted, like hairy feet, and he's like, yeah, so no, I'm just here. Got invited by these people wanting to open a zoo or something, so I'm here to kind of sort that shit out. I brought some things with me to show off, and they're in the back somewhere. Don't know whereabouts, but they're coming out a bit later.
Oh wow, you're into animals, eh? Well, why don't you meet Moggy? Says Nubs, leaning his shoulder over.
Fucking hell, look at that! It's a little, what is he? Tree frog?
That's southern green, actually, but yeah, pretty close to a tree frog. But the southern greens have got little red spots on their head. You see?
Fuck me, boy. Well, shit. Oh, well, nice to meet you, Moggy. And he kind of stares down and kind of gets in Moggy's face. So
Moggy
anyway,
blinks
what?
with one eye and then blinks with the other again, sort of slowly.
And what are you doing? What are you doing here, mate?
Oh, you know, just we're quite semi well known around here, so we get invited to a lot of parties. You know, you gotta show your face. Sometimes you gotta show your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know the feeling. As soon as I caught these fucking flying monkeys that I brought with me, no, everyone wants to have me around their house, talk to them about them. It's like, you know, life just, you know, you just find something, brings you into modern society, you know.
Tiring, isn't it? Absolutely tiring. Yeah. So, how many people do you know here anyway? You big mates with a lot of people around here, are you? Or just
Nah, first time in Neverwinter, I think. To be honest
first time
with you.
ever?
Yeah. I went down the water deep with these two cucks that are trying to deal with some deal with the zoo here. But yeah, no, first time in Neverwinter, mate. How about yourself?
Tell you what, I'm just going to stop you there, Baz. I really need a shit. Do you mind if I just motion? Do you know where the loos are?
No, sorry, mate. No, I don't know where they are.
Fuck. All right. Well, I'm in a bit. I'll better waddle off. But I'll tell you what. I'll be right back with you, mate. I'll be right back with you. Honestly, yeah. All right. See you in a bit.
All right, good luck, man. Good luck. And he just kind of, right, yeah, okay, yeah. And he just walks off trying to find someone else to speak to.
Nubs has muttered to yourself. No dice. No dice on that one.
Now, as you're all kind of walking around, you hear another announcement being made. Queen of the Deserin, enchanter of tattoos. And you see this this blue-skinned Ganassi walk through into the room, like long flowing hair, and he is covered in tattoos. Like every inch of his body is in some like type of pattern or tribal tattoos. He just kind of strolls into the crowd nonchalantly. He doesn't look too fussed, but he walks in. Who do we go to now?
This seems like perfect music for Awad and Shamash to do some.
I think so
knowledge.
too. A little bit pissed, and gonna go find some posh people. I think we'd tell me, Shamash, which group do you think looks the most of our sort of quality in here?
Shamash looks for just the most over-the-top clothes and walks towards that. Can you do a perception to see what are the most over-the-top clothes that he goes to talk towards? And drag Awad with him. I'll take your silence as a yes.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I think you might have seen Baz.
So as you kind of stroll out into the crowd looking for anyone of notable dress, you see a few people, but it is hard to kind of make your way through the crowd, and you bump into this kind of like quite portly gentleman, and he's just like, "Excuse me," and just stares at you both. Well, welcome to the meeting of the minds. You've just arrived, yes?
Indeed, and quite the minds we are too. Ha 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 ha.
He holds out his hand. Lucian Varro. Nice to meet you.
I give him an incredibly firm handshake. Abard Helmer, Baron from Damara.
Roll me a strength check on that handshake. Oh, he got an 18. He grasps it tight, and for a second you feel him try and fight back on the, like Trump when he used to handshake.
Yes. Yeah,
it's like that, like a short wrestle. And he kind of like he smiles back. Nice to meet you, Abard. Welcome. And yourself. And he stares over at you, Shamash.
Shamash also goes in for a grip, but while he does that, he charges his prestidigitation to create a small aura of sort of flame to come from his hand, essentially. A sort of sensory effect, and as he shakes it, it gives the other chap a slight sort of warmth and a tingle through his hands as he shakes hands with them.
Nice. He kind of like looks at his hand as you're shaking it and looks back up at you. Looks slightly confused and perturbed by it, but he stares back at you. And tell me, what are you both doing here this evening?
Well, we've actually just got back from Tribal, where we actually just helped out with the giant attack there. We actually killed a number of giants ourselves. We actually doing that at a great number of different towns in the area. We also did some business down in Bryn Shander as well. You know, we're just traveling giant slayers mainly these days.
But of course, we're here for the meeting of the minds to discuss new ways of running towns and cities. I've heard of a town up north called Marah, where they worship, well, a dragonborn god, it seems. I feel that this is certainly a mode of worship that may prove successful for other towns.
Interesting.
And yourself, good sir?
I'm the chief warden of the Neverwinter prison.
You must have met our good friend Weevil. We delivered him safe and sound to the Order of the Gauntlet, where he was, of course, imprisoned.
He was a halfling rogue. Not an actual rogue, but just a bit of a rogue of a man, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Well, no, I don't. Unfortunately, the Order of the Gauntlet have their own cells, but I am aware of this escapee. If he was in my prison, he wouldn't have escaped.
Wait. Say that again. Escapee?
Well, yes. It's quite well known that this Weevil that you talk about is on the loose. He's a well-known criminal.
My word! We must find
you-
him again at once!
I am shocked and hurt. We go to all this work, and the awful people at the well, actually, technically we're members, but they can't even keep hold of a young man. Do you know of his escape? How this happened?
I heard that they were transferring him to another holding place. He did a runner on them. Apparently, he had some items on his person that aided his escape.
Items?
Well, that is just awful. Just awful indeed. I cry. Shamash pops crying.
There, Shamash. And give him a big pat on the back.
Shamash
No.
obviously feigning crying, looks a bit confused.
Yeah, so the prison business. Lucrative?
It is these days when you have people not joining the mercenaries, yes. It was a punishable offense until Lord Neverember changed his mind.
Joining the mercenaries was a punishable offence?
No, if you didn't join. If you
Wait, so
seem to be
everyone has
healthy
to
enough-
join? Everyone has to join the mercenaries?
Not
Should
everyone.
we be mercenaries?
No.
This seems like a
Every-
confusing law.
Every unemployed person of good physical health was given the command that they needed to help in the remedial efforts of Castle Never.
So this is a state-managed mercenary company that enforces conscription within the city itself.
Unemployed people that give nothing to society, yes.
Right. What are they doing
you're-
now, this big mercenary grouping? We
Well,
noticed...
now... Sorry, I cut you off.
No, we couldn't help notice that security seems to have improved greatly in the town in recent weeks.
Well, that's because the Mintons have been diverted back to being the guard. The efforts on Castle Never have been pretty much abandoned.
So, let me just get this straight. You, or the city, are giving weapons and training to vagrants and criminals and empowering them to be mercenaries.
They go through
Well,
training.
Yes, I'm sure if you give a psychopath training, he'll become less of a psychopath.
We have checks for that. They get put in a different place.
Well,
They get the
that
help they
sounds,
need.
that
An honest
sounds
day's
very
work,
fun.
I would say.
Exactly.
And
and if you're not-
psychopaths are useful in the military.
Oh, not in the military. They just get put in. I don't know what they call it. The loony bin.
Well,
Well,
so,
that does. No, go on.
Now, as you're both having this conversation, you hear the announcer announce again. It echoes around the room. Lords of the Fandelver Mining Company, Gundren Rockseeker, and Rookwood Shoghad. And you see over in the corner from where you entered, the familiar physiques and faces of Gundren and Rookwood stroll into the room. But don't let me stop your conversation.
well, so
Well-
you're not a big fan of Neverember's policy changes in that case?
Look, I was behind the Castle Never effort for at least 2 years. It seems a shame to abandon everything, but I understand that things need to be ramped up in the city. We may be diverted too much to the castle, but now I feel like it's gone the other way.
I tell you, if the giants come again, you need every man jack one of them. Up at Bryn Shander, it was awfully close. If it hadn't been for some great luck, some great bravery, I believe Bryn Shander could have been overrun.
I
Well-
agree, it was very closely fought. I
We
climbed
lost
a
many
giant,
good men
you
that
know,
day.
with a grappling hook.
He did, it's true. It was great
Yeah.
bravery.
Impressive. You're you're the gentleman from Bryn Shander, is it? The low profilers. I've heard your name before.
Oh yes, that is us, actually. Yes, yes. You've,
We try not to go on about it. But it was a great adventure.
Good.
Twas.
Well, welcome, and it is good to meet your acquaintance. Make your
Aye, and
acquaintance.
should we find ourselves in the prison, we shall call upon you for your help.
I hope you do not.
Find ourselves in prison or call for your help.
Find yourself in prison, of course.
That's a relief. It's good to know we have made a friend here tonight.
Indeed, but
You hear another voice being introduced into the room as the pace begins to pick up now. Hagen Oridan of Tribal. And you see this like kind of just relatively middle-aged looking human enter the room.
well, it's been a pleasure, but I fear that we must circulate, so enjoy your drinks.
It has
Yes,
been a
yes.
pleasure.
Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your evening.
Before we're enjoying our evening, can we have a quick pee break?
Yes, let's do it.
Sweet.
Nice.
Oh,
Wait. Anyone else hear that in the... Anyone else here? No? Okay.
plus side with the Roll20 update, it seems like my video doesn't crash my PC anymore.
Nice.
Hey.
Downside
It's
is
good.
that I can only see my own video.
Oh, I saw you earlier.
I saw you briefly for a second, although
Yeah.
mine seems to have stopped working as well.
Boo. Excuse me. Let's try that.
That's better.
Oh,
I
well.
can see you now, Jay.
It's because I refreshed mine. I think if other people refresh theirs, potentially, you might be able to see them too.
I saw Charlie briefly earlier as well.
How about now?
Yes.
Nice.
Sweet.
Can't see mail though.
Yeah, I'm just fucking with my settings.
Fair dues.
I shall reconnect in a minute.
What is going on in the background
I
of
was going
this?
to say, so when you guys were away, I heard that as well. And I was like, is anyone there? It's like, do you hear that, like,
Yeah,
someone is having a good time at that party.
someone's getting rooted at that party.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I don't know what's
Did
going on
you
with
really?
that.
I haven't
I
heard this.
noticed it halfway through.
Oh, yeah. Just having a great party.
Yeah.
I accidentally loaded up the orgy.
Yeah.
Well, like we haven't had the ambience tracks in a while.
Oh, and
Yeah, I was
Missed
I was
it.
opting for just like generic playlist, but Yeah.
Before we jump back in, Andy, I just wanted to double check. Did if I remember correctly, the Moonstone Comb had some magical properties?
oh fuck.
That Unga's wearing in his hair.
You can remove a person's clothes just by sneezing at them.
There was. I cannot remember.
Remember you saying something about that whoever is wearing it appears to be the most handsome person they've ever seen.
Yeah,
Something
I
like
think
that.
that's it. I have it written on a note somewhere. It would have been Zephyros that told you.
Yeah. I think it was the first time Zephyros was awake to the crash.
It doesn't help that I've had 4 different places that I've kept my notes across this campaign.
Okay.
I have it somewhere. But I think it's similar to as you recall.
There it
Yeah, there it is.
There it is again. Oh dear.
Nice.
So since your webcam decided to work for me again, it did just crash for the first time in this session.
Oh shit.
At least the browser did, not the PC yet.
Chinese spy hacks.
Yeah.
What happens if I turn it off again?
Oh, it wasn't Moonstone. It was Electrum.
Electrum.
Isn't it Moonstone? I don't remember it always being
had-
Moonstone, but
Sure, I
had
remember it.
a large Electrum comb encrusted with moonstones.
Ah, right. Yeah.
I can't remember where I written the note though. That's just in the loop. That might help me search it.
Can I ask a totally different question while we're here?
Yes.
Sam and Mail specifically, and maybe Kimmy as well. Do you use primer for painting your models? And if so, do you do it in white or black, or have you got a particular reason?
depends on the model, I think, is the answer, right?
I don't spray. Go on, Mel.
Primer is key. How you
Yep.
apply it will vary and will colour depending on what you paint.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you
Don't
go for
claim.
spray or?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I like spray. It's pretty even, and then I tend to touch up with a bit of brush.
I
Cool.
don't spray. I just do a thin coat of black paint normally, but that's only because I live in a flat, so it's not good to spray in a
Yeah.
flat. Because
Yeah, that's fair.
that's how you get them shit lungs.
Well, that melt brain. Well, like,
I've already got that luckily, so good.
oh, the melt brain.
Yep.
Mail, with your Tyranid, do you go for white or black undercoat?
I'm using. Well, I was using a non-Games Workshop one, Rust-Oleum White by. I've forgotten the brand name. I can find out for you later because it's really cheap and it's really good.
Ooh, how
Oh,
cheap?
you're paying
That
that
sounds
big
good to
dollar
me.
for the GW thing,
I think it was like 4 gyps for the can. And it's done
Oh, that's
like
good,
one-
yeah.
Compared to like 13 for a Rattler from GW. However, I did go mad
Really?
and order some 40k paints. I say 40k, Games Workshop paints.
This is all.
Yeah. I'm using, I think it's Wraithbone. I think I've got a Rattler coming.
Nice.
But that's because I want to get a.
Yeah, I think Wraithbone is the white, isn't it?
One of them.
Right, boys.
Hi. Yeah.
Let's,
Sorry.
let's bring us back in if that's cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Excuse me.
Just for the sake of time. So, as you are all kind of mingling around, Abod and Shamash, as you kind of start looking around for your next person, we will pass to Unger and Finnan as they start looking around. Who are you looking for? What's standing out to you?
Good question. I think Finnan is looking for. I think Finnan's observing what the servers are doing. Like, what are they dressed in? What do they look like? Do they have a certain shift pattern, or are they just like patrolling the room randomly?
Yeah, cool. So, what you notice is that I think you gave me a really good perception earlier, so we'll go off that because you were looking at the rooms. You noticed that there is a door on the left-hand side of the room to the west, if we're looking at it top down. You see this kind of like circular route that they're taking through that door. They come when they are empty. They walk in through that door. They come back in through the door to the northwest. So on either side of the staircase, you have a door to the left and to the right. and they are coming in through this the left-hand door. Down into the room with full trays of canapes and bubbly drinks. So you kind of see this, and as the door opens to the left, you would notice that you kind of see glimpses of a kitchen within there. In terms of what they're wearing, they're all kind of wearing just black, plain black attire, in different cuts. They're not all wearing the same uniform, they're just all wearing black.
Okay. Cool. Easy to blend in with. Sweet. I turn to Bungus and go, who do you want to speak to then, I guess?
Hunger's looking around.
He's the one to ask, for sure.
Until Finnan asked that question, Hunger was looking for the food table and just looking where the food is. Trying to find some
Caught
grub.
him off guard. So
But also some oysters, if they're about.
Oh yeah, any like small canapé.
So yeah, there would be a number of kind of trays circulating in this large room full of people. But yeah, so there would be like canapes on trays and things like that.
Otherwise, Hunger couldn't help but notice the blue dude covered in tattoos that came in and wants to speak to him.
Okay. So yeah, he's not standing too far away from you. He's kind of like just idly looking around the room. He doesn't look bothered that he's not talking to anyone. He's just taking everyone in, looking at the sculpture for a while, looking at the artwork on the walls, yeah, he's not really paying anyone any regard.
Hunger's going to walk up to him almost too hastily and too quickly into his space and blurt out a question before he's even really introduced himself. What does tattoo do?
He looks over to you and he's on level with you. Like he's of a similar size to you. He's not maybe as like big in breadth, but he is in height the same as you. He kind of smirks as you walk over, and his like kind of this look of kind of confidence, and he's kind of got like a bit of a smirk to him. In fact, let me just. I thought I had him. Where is he? He kind of looks down at you, and you like really like see all. Well, doesn't look down at you. He looks directly into your eyes, and he's like pretty much just wearing like this vest. So there's so much of his skin on show. He looks at you and says, "What do you mean, my friend? The tattoos, they bring you life."
It's magic.
Yeah, they can do whatever you want them to do, if you have the right enchanter.
And make me stronger.
Of course.
How much?
Yeah. Depends how much stronger, my friend.
The strongest.
I like you. Yeah, and he stops one of the serving people with a drink, and he grabs one for himself and one for you, and then he notices Finnan down below him. Oh, sorry, my friend. And he grabs another and hands it down to you. Your names?
Unga Bungerson.
Unga
Finnan,
Bunga.
Christ.
Nice to meet you both. I am Kui.
Kui.
And likewise, what brings you here?
Party.
Just a party.
Pretty much. We were invited.
We have this. Unga pulls out an invitation and shows it to him.
I think we all have one of those, friend.
RPing with Bungus.
What do you all do?
We work for the Jam Pocket. We've been invited here due to our heroic deeds in the past. We're mainly here just hoping to meet some nice people and to learn a bit if we can.
Cool. Cool. You got any tattoos?
No, but I am
Oh.
intrigued.
Have you, big man? Surely
No.
you got to have some tattoos on there.
No tattoos. But I want one now.
Huh. I'm afraid I don't have any of my equipment with me, but maybe we can find something. I go around and do some guest slots in spaces. Maybe next time. Next time you're in Waterdeep, maybe.
Waterdeep.
That's where I have my shop.
Okay.
Ooh.
Is that a circulate moment?
Maybe?
Uh,
Finn, just keep an eye out. Yeah, big time. Finn, whilst we're chatting, is trying to keep an eye on where Gundren is.
Yeah, so Gundren and Rookard have kind of walked along over to the east part of the room. Whether or not it's purposeful, they've 100% not locked eyes with any of you. And I'd imagine you're all kind of considering them out of the corner of your eyes.
Unger seems almost a little bit insulted that they're not looking at him, having forgotten why.
Medica would want to have a little go at mingling. If you have time for
Is
it.
he going to be with Nubs, or is he? Is he
No,
decided to split up over there?
I'll play you into it. So,
Sure.
Medica has been standing in front of the statue, not moving at all, for a good 15 minutes, let's say. And he comes back from almost trance-like state he is in. Same like, ooh, there's something going on background.
Yeah, looks around. What did I?
What? And then Medica kind of like wakes up from the deep dream, like he breathes out in a lot, turns around, and takes the nearest champagne glass from the waiter passing by, and he scours the room for most rich and powerful looking people.
Okay. So it is quite clear that there's an element of like, it's not necessarily like nobility. The people here all seem to have some form of like high society in a way, but no one seems to be like really like a significantly wealthy presence within the room. Looking around, you see like, and looking regarding everyone in, it is kind of like a weird mix of people. You see people who, like Kui is just like this muscly person adorned with tattoos. You see Baz Bolano just wearing his like canvas like shorts and t-shirt. But then you also notice all these kind of people who they might be dignitaries, politicians, historians, wearing kind of more well-to-do clothing. There's no one other than Shamash. Shamash looks like one of the most brightest people in the room when it comes to attire. But there's no one in particular like strikes you as being like, that is money.
He would want to try to look for people with, let's say, questionable ways of making money kind of vibe in them.
Okay.
Nouveau riche.
Like, let's say, some kind of merchants and like dock masters and stuff, kind of like that way.
Sure. By looking for that, you would note two people speaking. You see like a middle-aged, kind of like 40s human male but he's deep in conversation with the lady that you saw Baz Bolano walk in with. Now, from your memory of when she was announced, her name is Antoinette. She's the harbour master of Neverwinter. But she's deep in conversation with this man who looks not ragged, but he looks a little bit rough around the edges. His suit isn't something that it looks like maybe a second-hand piece of attire, and they're kind of deep in conversation. I would say those are probably two most fitting of your description.
Right. Medica straightens himself up and puts an unnaturally good smile into his face and approaches those two.
God. I just imagine how like
Like
psychotic
Terminator
you're-
smiling. Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
but
thinking,
it's-
like,
It's weird.
You know,
It is well rehearsed smile, but there's no intention behind it.
who's the guy who played the Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man? Sorry,
Willem
who's that?
Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. I imagine it's like a Willem Dafoe-esque sort of smile, sort of like, like sort of, I don't know why.
No,
a little bit psycho.
I see the same thing.
Why did someone just post a Hitachi wand in the chat?
Hitachi wasn't. Oh, that's the wand that someone's got.
So,
guys.
I would say going into this Medica, roll me a performance check as you try and put on this kind of facade. Nice. With a 15, you stroll up and you go in with confidence, and the two that are deep in conversation pay attention as you're walking straight over. And as you get closer, they kind of stop their conversation and look over at you, and the gentleman kind of nods his head.
And I'd
Well met.
take I'd like
Oh,
a
sorry.
nice little like a whole-ish bow on them, and oh, greetings, you two. My name is Medica Insanus, and I'm Grand Priestess of the Great Tartar from the Far East. And I just couldn't help but notice you two. You two have a certain aura around you two. Could you tell me what do you do for your living?
What do you mean by certain order?
There's something interesting, and I'm dying to learn more about you two characters, as you are the most peculiar looking people in my eyes.
What do you mean peculiar? And are you trying to offend them, or are you trying
No.
to?
I am being honestly and as honest as I can seem to be interested in them.
On the 15, so this gentleman seems to be like, he's not offended, but he's like quizzically like, this sounds like an odd question. But the female out of the two, Antoinette, kind of stares at you, and for a moment just regards you, and she gives you a small little smile as it rises from oh my god, that sounds
Every
She
time.
does give him a smile.
Oh.
Okay, great smile.
oh shit. And she stares back at you, and she says, "Come now, Ruma. He's only trying to be polite. Friend, I think maybe what you've picked up on is that we both work in the docks. Is that what you're trying to say?"
Ah, yes, the presence of the great sea. Ah, that imbues its wanderers with great energy. As you can see, I am from the Far East. I am from the mountainous region, and it's completely different energies around there. And my god, Great Tartar, he is the god of snowy fields and desolation, but also rebirth.
Very good, very good. I've never heard of Tartar, did you say?
Yes, it's a little bit confusing around here, as you can see. In the place where I come, there is no such thing as a food called tartar. This is pronounced completely different way, and there has
Yeah.
plenty of silent letters in there.
I see. And you said you were a priest.
Yes, I am the Grand Priest of my local area in there, and I'm on my once in a lifetime pilgrimage. I have been on road for, let's see, yes, around 9.5 years now, and I'm just dying to learn about all the new things this great continent has to offer, and I'm particularly interested about the ocean, because as you can see I have never been around it, being from the inland, basically.
Fascinating. 9.5 years you've been on the road. I commend you to your efforts.
Thank you.
Well, you've come to the right people. We both know plenty about the ocean. Don't we, Ruma? This man looks at you kind of like, just staring, screwing his eyes like, where did you say you were from?
I am from beyond the White Peaks, far east. They are, I would say, have you been... what would be the closest place that is... have you been to, let's say, Nesme in the east?
I'm afraid that old Ruma here hasn't really travelled much further than beyond this port. His life has been spent on the seas, isn't that right, Ruma? Yes. Yes, my life's on the sea. Well, it was.
Oh, dear, what happened?
Unfortunately, we've had to shut down the ports.
Oh, that is unfortunate. I can't imagine my line of work being completely shut off. What is the reason for that?
Well, that is the thing. Our life's work has revolved around trade and keeping trade between the ports. There's been a number of attacks on the ocean that has led all ships to be grounded to a halt. There is actually a survivor of one of the attacks here tonight. I don't know where he is. His name is Geraldo. He survived a recent attack on a ship a month or so ago. Reports of Sahuagin fiends attacking the ships. It is a dire state of affairs, but we just cannot let our ships sail. And so trade is becoming to come to a halt, and we've had to opt for purely road. But as you can imagine, it is harder to transport such bulk of foodstuffs and spices and other things that isn't on the sea.
Oh dear. Has there been any attempt to resolve this situation?
It's quite difficult. We can't really send out much in the way of fighters. The problem with Sahuagin is if they come up onto a ship, they come from the sea. Unfortunately, it is an area that we are not best fighting in a melee type of combat.
Oh. What about... who is the god of the ocean around here again? Have you been trying to reach out and donate for the cause for protection?
You say God. We only know of... Which god do you speak of?
I actually... The thing is, I still haven't learned the gods around here, and my expertise is much more towards the under the land rather than under the sea.
Well, yes. I mean, unfortunately, the goddess Umberly is it is a chaotic mistress in that the sea has a will of its own.
I wonder if there would be another god who could maybe help with that, but I can understand the sea is a large and powerful place. That is not an easy task.
Indeed, indeed. It is not an easy time.
So tell me, you've been handling all the trade by land then? How does that happen? Because I cannot imagine those big ships I've seen in the docks, just moving by the wheels.
Well, unfortunately, that is the thing. Trade has slowed down alarmingly. We were hoping that we may be able to speak with Lord Neverember later tonight if he does intend to show. Ah, he won't come. He hasn't attended a session in years.
Okay. Well, if I happen to get you get you two wonderful people in touch with the man you're speaking of, I would gladly accept a donation to my church.
By all means, anything that can help. Where may we find you to make a donation if it were to come to that?
Well, I have a deal with the local bartender near the docks, actually, at the Beach Leviathan, that he handles all my mail that is incoming. So you may do it via that route.
Perfect. Yes. And what's their name?
Yes, Medica Insanus, the Grand Priest of the Great Tartar.
Thank you. We'll ensure to do that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Medica bows and turns around, and immediately his face away, wipes the smile off his face, and goes back to his stoic self.
Nice. Now, as you all kind of walk around, Abard and Shamash, we come back to you. What are you doing in this space?
Looking for more of the elite and rich and noble. Smash is studying jawlines.
Yeah, I agree. I think trying to find someone who might know anything about Artisimba would be our shout now.
Okay.
So I agree. Trying to look for some probably like fairly knowledgeable looking people.
Okay. Knowledgeable type of people. In the corner of the room, by a stuffed ostrich, there are two small gnomish gentlemen, deep in discussion. They have their heads together and kind of talking about something in deep matters. They both have these small spectacles, and they're leaning into each other. You're kind of nestled away in. They're nestled away in this kind of like southeast corner of the room. Yeah, those are the two that would look the most kind of learned, let's say.
Are they speaking Gnomish to each other?
I guess Nubs, you'd be able to probably pick up on the air enough that they'd be speaking to each other. Yeah. You'd
Just
kind of
work
hear a
for me,
ring
yeah.
of
Yeah.
ring.
Yeah. Cool. All right,
Can we signal over our translator to come and help?
Yeah, of course.
How do you signal, Nubs?
I do the secret signal.
Can't see you if you're doing it on the camera. I can't see, but
I am.
signal.
He yells and waves.
Yeah, waves manically and whistles.
Nubs points to his chest, points back at Abard.
Abard like nods really vigorously.
Nubs does a thumbs up and waddles over. All right, Abard. Any luck?
Indeed, we've seen some gnomish fellows over in the corner that look like they might have something to tell us. Do you fancy coming over and giving us a hand with the old translation?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure they speak common as well, but we can certainly throw in a few good words to curry favour. Yes.
Always helps.
Yeah, I suppose so. All right.
I think we.
Do you want me to give them a hello then, or do you want me to introduce you two?
Ah,
I
you
will say hello first, actually. And Shamash actually wanders over and says hello to them in Draconic, just to test how learned they really are.
As you wander over, and what does hello in Draconic sound like? as 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 you do, as you do that, Abard and Nubs kind of stand behind you as you make this kind of guttural sound, and it sounds like you're throwing up into the room. And the two gnomes just don't even hear you. They it's blended into all the sound around them, and they just carry on deep in their conversation with each other.
Shamash shakes his head sadly and nods over to Nubs.
Listen, Shamash, let me show you something. This is the high gnomish way of greeting each other. Right there, Chuff, says Nubs as he approaches both the gnomes.
They both swing around. You're right there, Bert. How's it going?
Not bad, Chuff. Are you alright?
Oh,
This
not too
year-
bad.
I'm alright, yeah. This year I got my mates here. Got my mate Shamash over here, and I got my mate Abard, look. He says, turning around pointing at Abard.
Hello.
Oh,
Don't speak
I.
much Elvish though, or the Gnomish I mean, sorry. Don't mind if we change up, speak a bit of common, eh?
Ah, go on then, fuck it, lad. Yeah.
Yeah, be alright then, alright, I'll let him know. And he turns around and says, yes, I've introduced you two.
Hello there. Good to meet you all.
Hey, tell me, how fares your trade?
Well, hold on a moment, we haven't told us your names yet.
Our names? Ah,
We just use the gnomish terms of endearment. Unless your name is, of course, Chuff. It may well be.
no. This is Wilwyn, and I am Hisham.
Where do you two come from?
Yeah, we come from the village of Twistfall.
Twistfold? I've never heard of it. Where's that?
To the south. Before you get to the jungles of Cult, it is between here and there.
Oh, I've never been down that way, so I wouldn't know.
No, not
Yep.
many have.
Well, may I introduce ourselves officially as the Low Profilers, or part of them, at least half of them. We're a gang of adventurers.
Wow. Well, it is a pleasure. Well met. Well met. What can we
Well
do
met.
for you?
Abard, I think you had a question.
Yes, we're interested. We've been solving a series of giant attacks in the near area. We're wondering how fares your business, what with the giants in the area?
Oh, the giants haven't affected us too much. We are both historians.
Historians! Ah.
I studied some history in my time. Tell me, what do you know of the history of this place, this palace that we are in?
Yeah, this place. We've been here. What is this? Our fourth time? Our fourth meeting of the minds. Yes, it is a lovely estate. It's been in the Roaringhorn family for maybe 6 generations. I think was it, Hisham? Yes, I think it was.
So if you've been
And-
here a few times before, tell us, who are the big movers and shakers in the room?
Well, you have a number of different people here. This doesn't seem to be everyone really here. Yet, I mean, what we maybe only 2 hours in. There's still probably more to join, but you have a fair few people here. I see Antoinette is here. I see Lucian is here from the prison, and Rockseeker. And the other name, Mr. Big Balls over there, yes. Big Balls with the mining company. Yes, they have grown rather quickly, haven't they?
Ah.
We've
Tell me, friend, what know you of Roaringhorn and his history? For he seems a bit of an enigma.
Celeron has always kept himself to himself. He's a historian like us. The others, he's more than a historian. He's a collector of fine things, and, well, he's one of the finest cartographers in this world.
Cartography. Interesting. Ah. So
What would you
alright.
say motivates
Please,
him? I
yes,
apologize.
sorry,
ma'am.
Smash. No, please, I was just
I just have
so
a great
dumbfounded.
interest.
My breath was
You-
taken away.
No,
Please carry
it's
on.
perfectly okay. No, I understand. Yes. What motivates him? What is his background?
Uh, Research, I think, really. History. He's fascinated by relics of old. They say that before he endured his injury, he has a cane, you see. He can't walk very well. He used to travel a lot, but it has been, what, 20, 30 years? He doesn't get out very much. Ever since his injury, he I can't not hear that noise
Got
now.
injured.
What was that noise? Someone was having a really good party. Oh, bloody hell.
Yes, he's as I say, he's kept himself to himself. Really, he hosts these parties once a year, but it is he just brings people together.
Interesting. Moving on.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I was wondering, you seem learned, both of you two. I've been hearing a lot of talk of late as to history, and I've been doing some family research and you know, my heritage, bloodlines. This name kept coming up and again and again and again and again. Not a relative of mine, but someone my family's involved with a long, long time ago. A chap called Artus Sinbar. I don't suppose you've heard of him, have you? Being historians and all.
Arthur Simba.
Yes.
It's not a name that I'm aware of. What
Yeah.
about you, Wilwyn? No. No, Arthur Simba. No, it's not a name I'm aware of. Who is he?
Oh, well, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, he's related to a friend of mine, Sirac, but I really know. So she's more of an enigma than he is a real person, I would say, at least as far as I've been able to determine myself. Yes, perhaps a bit of a wizard, perhaps a bit of a charlatan, maybe even. Don't really know.
Intriguing. Well, I'm afraid we can't aid you in your mystery there on Artist Simba. But of course, if it ever comes up, we'll of course say.
Well, that's absolutely understandable and fine. However, you have been at this meeting, what you said, 4 times before? I don't suppose you know of anyone who around here is good with family history.
Family history, not that I'm aware of. I'm afraid
Genealogy?
if you're looking for ancestry and things like that, you're probably best going to the library.
Oh. Disappointedly.
Well, some of us can read, I suppose. If you don't happen to know anybody who knows anything about family history, know any particularly powerful business people here tonight?
Like I say, the night is young. There are still more people to come. No, I mean, other than Antoinette, who looks after the ports, then no, it's unless more people arrive. Unfortunately, they don't release the attendee list So I'm not sure, I'm afraid.
Very well. Well, it's been wonderful meeting you. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. A true pleasure.
Assuming we're all done, of course, gentlemen.
Smash just turns away and walks off.
Oh, bloody hell, Chef, she's off again, look. Says Stubbs. Well,
Yeah, sorry, that's our cue to move.
what about you, but I need you one of these, look. Says
It's like the
Stubbs, holding
transition
empty
sound.
glass.
Can I just check, Sam? Your webcam's not working.
It is turned on. Try refreshing.
I have
Nah,
like
it's
multiple
quite a lot.
times.
I tried it again a couple times too.
I can only see my own webcam. Yeah, some people like come on randomly and then they come off.
Big immersion.
I can
Yeah.
see everyone but Sam.
Oh, he's loading. Come on, Sam, you got this. Load.
You can do it. Fly
Still
on
loaded.
wings like an eagle.
Still loading. What is it? That is so weird, man, that your webcam
Yeah, I
has
don't know
issues.
why it's fucky.
Also, can I ask who were the people who I talked to? Yes, I do.
Yeah, true. Was it
Antoinette?
Twee and someone?
Antoinette and Ruma.
Rumar.
Rumor.
Rumar.
Sam, can you try switching to the other one, maybe?
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
What browser are you using, Sam, by the way? Using Chrome?
Firefox. Chrome was
Ah,
crashing my PC.
Also, what were
Shit.
their titles?
Antoinette is the harbour master of Neverwinter. You didn't capture Rumar's
Okay.
title.
And who did they want to talk to? Because I thought was it the Roaringhorn they wanted to talk to?
If you're gonna pick up a
you
quest, you gotta keep notes, Kimmy.
Well, I didn't because I was immersed. I was
he
acting.
was conversing with them, and it's tricky to do so.
yeah.
The scariest amount of conversation I've ever heard from.
They were looking to have a conversation with Neverwinter
Ah, Lord Neverwinter.
if he arrived.
Okay.
Now, as you all, oh shit,
To our oh boy.
Any joy, Sam?
Yeah, I've just switched onto webcam on iPad. Is that not working, people?
It's fine.
I'm just refreshing. I couldn't
see
see
it.
earlier.
I can see it.
Sweet.
It's good for me.
For whatever reason, it's not working for me, but no
It's
trouble.
not
man.
working for me either.
No, neither me.
I'll try it on Chrome. Bear with.
Yeah,
Carry on, I'll
I'm
just
just
try and-
resetting my browser. Oh, did you? I just like to be able to see everyone's faces.
And I tell them that the cave trolls are moving into the party room.
See me now?
Memorize.
That suddenly everyone's dead. There's been poison gas in the party. Oh, I can see Sam.
Now, as you move away from the two names that you've been chatting to, you hear the sound of the announcer speak out again. And you hear, Lord Proprietor of Daggerford, Nelkin Danica, and in his company, newly instated Baron of Helmsdale, Lambert Ossel.
Aren't
Abard.
you Baron of Helmsdale, Abard?
Abard is shaking with rage. Abard, it's like his eyes are as wide as they can possibly go.
I say, you're right. Seem to have entered some sort of trance.
He's
Abard, I
quivering
think they've
with
got
rage.
the titles mixed up. You are Baron of
Amazing
Helmsdale,
reference, by the
aren't
way,
you?
Charlie.
Ossel.
Hey, Bard!
Ossel.
Hey, Bard!
Hey,
And-
Bard, dropped your canopy, says Nubs, holding up to him. Hey, Bard. Hey, Bard,
There.
here it is.
Abard reaches out, grabs the canapé, bites it, and goes, "Oh,
That wasn't a canopy,
Now-
that was just...
as you see the two walk into the room, you see this horned changeling walking through. Sorry, not changing. Tiefling walking through the room. Red-skinned, large goatee, and to the side of him is this kind of gaunt-faced, light-skinned, pale human with white, slicked back hair. And to his side, a dwarf. And Finnan, you recognize the face of a very familiar person.
Oh god.
Roll me a perception check.
Too many windows. Ah. Yes.
As if your eyes zoom out of your sockets, you stare at the face. The person that you escaped a long time ago, Magnar Anderson.
Yeah, Finnan go. As he walks into the room. Finnan immediately looks for someone to stand behind, so he's not in eye line of Magnar.
Make me a stealth check. Who do you hide behind?
Whoever's tallest. Well, probably behind Bungerson because I was hanging out with him, so I'll just stand behind him for now.
So as you do so, and you cower behind Bungerson, you stare out at your long-lost friend. And you suddenly realize something strange about him. Something is different. And you see, looking at his eyes, there's almost like this glazed look of expression, of just unoccupied space within the brain region. He is there physically and walks alongside these two that have just entered into the room, but he doesn't look at anyone. He just stands there, holding a coat in his hand.
Finnan, noticing this, still doesn't want to talk to him just yet. And noticing that Malkin and the new Baron of Helmsdale has arrived, Finnan instantly thinks it's time to set the plan in motion. So Finnan looks for a dark corner of the room, maybe by one of the unopened doors, behind a fancy statue of an ostrich, and takes off his party clothes and turns his armor into a black outfit to blend in with the servers.
Nice. What do we do from here?
Has Lambert Ossel clocked that Abard is in the room?
He has not.
Okay.
No. Him and both he and Nelkin start walking into the room, but there's kind of like this loftiness of they don't approach anyone. No one really seems to want to approach them either.
I'm just going to head to the table of food. If there is a table of food, he's going to look for where the food's at in the room and head over there.
So there's no table of food, but there are just still lots of serving trays being passed around by different like busboys and stuff.
Okay, he's going to kind of look through the busboys, trying to find a serving tray with oysters on it. Or something that would go down in one.
Well, there are a number of different things, like there's little prawn, like the shrimp things you get. I don't know the name of different canapes. You see like little spring rolls, miniature falafels, little pork sausages, all kind of like fancy finger food.
I'm just
Um,
not looking for any of these, but each tray he passes, he takes at least a good handful and shovels them in.
I've got to ask, is there any cheese and pineapple on the stick? Because if there
Of course
is,
there
Nobs
is.
is going for it.
He'll call over a busboy and say, "Come." He goes, "No." But like he'll start picking, and as they start to go, he goes, "No, stay, no, go, wait, go."
Now,
He's looking for oysters.
specifically looking for oysters.
Something that's going to go down the hatch without any chewing.
So, the roll me a d20.
Ooh. Bad oyster.
One busboy passes, another one, and another. And you get closer to the door of where they're all coming out, and one of them kind of tries to kind of stop you getting so close to the door. He's like, "Excuse me, sir, are you after something in particular?"
Yes, snotty in shell.
Oysters. Right. Yes. Let me go and ask the chefs, maybe. I don't think they're on the canapé orders, if I'm completely honest with you. But maybe we can bring something out if Sir does desire.
You can make some. I wait.
Okay. Leave it with me. I'll be back in a moment.
Yes.
The boy runs out through a door into the kitchen. You see the door kind of swing between. And he's like, "There's a big guy out there who wants some oysters, and he scares me."
For you.
Some time passes, but it is not long until this guy brings out a tray of oysters. I'm afraid, sir, we only have 5 left over from what we have available. I can't guarantee the freshness.
It's okay. I dig. And I'm just going to take the tray out of his hands.
Nice.
Thank you. You can go now. Thank you.
Very well, very well.
I'm going to walk over to, I'm going to see if I can spy Finnan. I'm going to look around the room and see if I can.
Oh, Finnan's been watching you intently, like seeing what's going on.
So I'm now just got this tray of oysters aloft and just looking for Finnan. This massive K-man in a snakeskin suit. The tray of oysters.
Can Finnan try and wave him down?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet. And also, I imagine we see each other. I think we need to get these, because these oysters are not on the menu. I imagine everyone's going to want the oysters because they're like, "Oh my god, where'd you get those from?"
Yeah, you
I
see
didn't think they
quite a
had
few
any.
people clambering towards him. Like, "Yes, I'll have some of those, please."
Like backhand him. I say to Bungerson, we need a way to like keep these secret and special until we get over to the boys, so they think it's like a special thing just for them, because then they'll definitely want it. It seems like that sort of event to me. So I'm proposing that I sneak into the kitchen and get like a cloche, like one of those metal dish things you stick over a tray.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know what that name
No,
was.
neither did I.
I'm pretty sure it's
A
a cloche.
kalosh.
A cloche?
I'm not even gonna Google it to check.
I'll anticipate that is what it's called for the sake of moving things on. Yes. So tell me how you're entering the kitchen.
So I'm gonna head through the west door where everyone's returning with their empty trays.
Mm-hmm.
And head through there. I'm just gonna go in confidently as if I'm one of them, and look for a covering.
Okay, roll me a stealth check. If that's how you're trying to do it.
No.
Probably charisma, because you're trying to.
Yeah, performance.
Performance, yeah.
Is good.
You're trying to put on an act. A bunch of people.
Jesus.
I'm gonna roll for the chefs as you walk in. as you walk in, one of as soon as what have you got in your hand? Anything? Nothing.
Nothing.
Someone comes straight over with this tray of stuff and just shoves it in your hand. It's like, get that out there quickly. We need to serve these fuckers. There's some guy out there, and he's just eaten so many canapes. He's completely rinsed us dry. We're going to have to try and just serve some olives or maybe some jalapenos. I'm not sure what we've got available to us. We're running out. We're going dry. Get those out there, stat. I'm gonna whip up some hummus, and we'll take that out, and maybe we'll have to resort to chips. I don't know what it might be.
Okay, hear me out. If we need to get past this big guy, maybe I can have something to cover this to get to the far side of the room.
Good idea. Here, come and look with me.
Okay.
And you walk over to the kitchen cupboards, and he starts looking through different areas. He pulls out a cloth. Will this do?
Yeah, it looks fancy enough.
It's got little frilly bits on it. Maybe lace, I'm not sure. We'll use that.
Yeah, that's gotta be classy. Finn like whips over his like plate thing, puts his arm behind his back, and goes, "I'll be off then," and sort of saunters out.
Come back in a minute for the hummus.
"I will do." Finn's just like, that went way too easy.
Now, as you walk out, as the room is it's starting to really fill up now, and I'm going to say a lot more people have started to be announced, and it's really starting to get busy. You explain to me how you walk through this room.
So as soon as I walk through the door and hear them close behind me, I take the top off and just yeet the olives into the crowd, and then head straight over to Uncle Bunkerson as quickly as possible.
You hear loads of people just like an uproar, like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
I feel like
Now-
he's small enough to get away with it, though. No one will see where it came from, just below everyone's shoulders.
Now, Finnan, as you run over to Unger Bungerson, Abard Helmer, what are you doing?
Abard has kind of recovered a bit from his rage, and he's now pacing around. He's scanning the room. He keeps on looking back over at Lambert Ossel. He's muttering under his breath. He's just going to do a quick scan of the room. Is there anything like a card table or just a big dining table in the room anywhere?
Nothing in this room, but there are obviously a number of doors that lead off.
Can you just have another look over at Lambert Ossel? What does he seem to be wearing? What's he looking like?
He's just wearing like a kind of silvery grey suit. It has kind of like some gold, silver, like lapels and stuff all kind of woven into it. He looks very minimal. He kind of seems to be chatting with Nelkin in some conversation. He has a glass in his hand of red wine, and he's just kind of looking around, observing the crowd. And he looks straight at you. And for a moment, he just stares, and then he smiles.
I pick up a champagne glass from a passing waiter, making direct eye contact with him.
I've just got the scene from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charles got Mac across the restaurant.
And Lambert also just kind of whispers something into the tiefling's ear. And the tiefling kind of looks over at you, nods, and he looks back, and he just walks off in a different direction. And Lambert Ossel starts walking directly over to you, cutting through the crowd.
And Shamash walk along with Abard, thinking, "Ooh, this will be fun to see this result. They've both got the same title. This is a funny mistake."
Abard necks the champagne glass, picks up another one from the tray, and starts to walk towards Lambert Ossel, but faster, making a point of stepping faster.
It isn't long until you come face to face with Lambert Ossel, and for a moment you both stand there looking at each other, and he has just this smirk on his face, like just one side of his face is smiling, and Abard Helmer, what a treat it is to see you again. How long has it been?
Abard grins back on the other side of his mouth, so together they form a complete smile. Lambert Ossel, it's been a few years. You're
It
a long
has.
way from home.
It has, yes. I'm here on business.
Are you?
Business is good these days. I
Is
must
it?
not. Not to brag, but things are going quite well.
Are they?
Tell me, what are you doing for work these days?
Giant slaying.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
big
a
ones.
bit of a change from minding the castle.
Well, you know, sometimes we need to find a new profession, don't we? Sometimes things go wrong in life, don't they, Lambert?
Indeed they do. Indeed they do. I still feel bad about it, Abard. It was a bit of a mistake, wasn't it?
No, I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Thinking Capridon Shamash.
Hello there, Shamash Fenken Kabladon. It is a pleasure to meet you. Are you a friend of Abard Helmer? We go a long way, he and I.
You are friends too with Abard. Hello,
Abard,
Nubs. May I introduce Nubs Grimwick?
Hi there. What's your name?
He looks at both of you and he looks back at you, Abard. Abard, you've made friends, finally.
Yeah, we're his friend. You won't admit it, but we're his friends, aren't we, Abard? There's no nudging him on the shoe.
Abard is
Certainly
like
acquaintances,
completely
at least.
still.
Rigid.
It's easier if you just pick the pineapple up and spit it out on the floor, so steps. You get the cheese.
Lambert just stares at you, Shamash, and just smiles, and he looks back at Abard. I'm happy for you. I really am. I really am. It's good to see you with friends.
Now, let me just clear up some confusion for me, for when you were announced, it said you were the Baron of Helmsdale. But surely this is our friend Abard here's title. That's a bit of a funny one. Do you think they got confused or something?
Some of us, Shamash, earn our titles through blood. Others, through theft.
No, Abard. Really? Are you telling me that was theft? I seem to remember it quite differently. I seem to remember it was you who betted your entire family's wealth and inheritance and castle on a poker game.
Castle, not the title, Lambert.
Unfortunately, the title comes with the rulership of the castle and the land, does it not?
Abard kind of like grinds to a halt, and you can kind of hear his brain churning like an old laptop.
Tell me, Abard, it's been a while. How is your mother?
Mumsakins is fine, thank you.
It's your mother, the moaning in the back of...
Perfect timing.
How's your mother?
Your mother was the gem of Demara, was she not? That lady. A true shame she no longer has a castle to call her home.
The hunting lodge is perfectly comfortable.
Is that where your family's living now?
I believe so. And your father in the castle, is he?
Yes, we've done quite a lot of renovation work. We've done... Abard, it was a bit of a tip. I seem to remember... Was it your bedroom in the west tower?
Tower of Dreams, yes.
The Tower of Dreams. Is
Yes.
that what you called it? Yes, well, we did a little bit of work on it recently. It looks all very nice now. Modern standards, you know.
Coming. Plumbed it,
Sorry.
have you? Plumbed the castle?
We've improved things.
I'm sure.
Nubs looks up at Avard and in Gnomish says to him, "Bit of a cunning."
I was...
Tell-
No. After you, Lambert.
I was thinking of I have a little while until my meeting. I thought I might go and see if there's any games. Do you still play?
I've been known to play a hand or two when the mood is right. Maybe I'll see you at the table.
Maybe in a bit, eh? I think I'll find myself some food first.
I've heard the oysters are fantastic tonight. They're hard to get hold of. And he
Yeah.
winks really obviously at Nub.
Yeah, maybe, Lambert, for old time's sake, you do the honour of having an oyster with me.
I don't remember ever sharing an oyster with you before, Abard, but when on the coast, hey?
I was enjoying an oyster, says Nubs. Obviously that good.
Yeah.
Unger with Finn, and imagine they're kind of like still like not quite in the mix with
I
the
like to
crowd.
think we're like doing like different like poses with the dish and stuff like that in the corner room. No, like this.
No, Unger's like trying to look over the crowd to try and spot any of the party.
Practicing.
Now that we have the
removing
oysters.
cloche.
So, Lambert kind of looks around. Shall we call them over?
Rash clicks his fingers. Garcon! Oyster!
Unger
Finn.
dips down to Finn and says, "We have coin. Where's coin?"
I take the coin out of my pocket and slip it under the most forward like oyster. There's 5, right?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, so we've got 2 at the sides and then 1 at the front on this like serving
Okay.
dish. The one in the middle at the front, that's the one I like slip the coin under and go, we give that to him first because guests fools, right?
Yes.
I said Nubs.
Okay, I put the
Oh,
cloth
just
back on.
smiles
I go, Unger, can you clear a path to them quickly so none of the other assholes get there first?
Yes. Unger swiftly walks into the crowd, just kind of using his shoulders to kind of bump people out the way. It's just bump, trying to part a wave.
I'm like right behind him, like almost holding it like a rugby ball. Like, got the plate under one arm, and then I got like the cloche like clamped down.
And then coming towards the party. Ah! Who's this? Looking at, what's his name? Lambert.
Lambert also.
Is Unger dressed as a waiter?
Unger is dressed in full snakeskin.
Fidden is a waiter though.
So with that, Lambert kind of looks, as you say, who's this? He looks at you, he's like, another one of your friends, Abard?
I've got lots of friends these days. Fewer debts, hopefully.
Oh, very good.
Acquaintances, I'd say.
Very good. You don't pay these ones then?
We get money from Abard. Now?
I know I've taken money from Abard, but I don't think he gave it willingly. He lost it fair and square.
How much money you give us, fancy man?
I think everyone here will have a coin by the end of the evening.
That is optimistic. I'll have you know, last time he and I played a game, he lost everything.
He's still got his trousers.
physically, but figuratively, I pulled his trousers down.
Just picking up on Shamash's comment, Abud like looks down and realizes he's actually wearing tights in the thing. Yes, you were quite miraculously good at the cards that evening. You didn't seem to have a card out of place all night, as I recall. I've gotten quite good at recall lately.
Have you now?
Yeah. Maybe we could. Every time. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about that night later at the table.
Let's do that. Here, let us have some of these oysters. Who else is partaking?
Why, they look delicious. I'll have one.
Finn holds up the dish and pulls off the lid and angles it towards Ossel, as he's clearly the higher nobility here, with like the coin one, like most close to him, visibly sweating.
Unger's going to quickly take the tray. Yes. He's going to take one of the oysters that doesn't have the coin under it. Hold the tray in a way that his hand is almost touching the one with the coin. And offer the others oysters. He's going to turn to Abard, offer him the tray.
Abard will pick one up. Ideally, not the coin one.
Yeah, no.
So if Abard goes to pick up the one with the coin in, Unger's going to slap his hand.
Okay. Abard will just... Should I roll something for that?
So I'm just figuring out how we're gonna do this. Hang on. How can we do this?
I get like a stealth check to like give Abard like a cheeky like eyes wide little shake of the head or like a little nod of the head when he hovers over an oyster.
We'll do that. So but I need to determine which one he's reaching for out of the 5. So the closest one is the one with the coin. But
yeah, the closest one to Unger's hand.
Abard, roll me a... Oh shit, this is really tricky. I don't know how to rule this.
Like Russian roulette.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure out how we do. Can you roll a d5 in roll 20?
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Don't see why not.
I think you can roll
Yeah,
a D
just-
anything.
Yeah, just right. Yeah. Roll D1.
Yeah. Roll me a d5.
Fuck.
R
/
R, I think. No.
What do I type?
Slash roll
Roll.
D5.
Yeah, without the full stop.
Like we do for the D100 every time we start this game.
I just use the thing on the
I
left.
use the thing
Actually,
on the left.
Oh, really?
D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheeky bastards.
So hang on, Charlie. I'm gonna send you a number. For the...
Okay.
Okay, so as Unger offers around the platter, Abard reaches for an oyster.
Unger
How do you react?
offers it to him and goes. Does Abard take the oyster?
He does, and continues to nod back. No.
He then offers the tray to Nubs.
Nubs offers his hand over one of the oysters. Sorry, I'm trying to type and it's not working. There we go. Grabs it, looks at it. It looks like an old bogey. He just shakes his head at Bungus and
Unger offers the tray to Shamash.
Rash doesn't even look at it, he just picks the one closest to himself and waits for the others before eating it, because that is the etiquette.
You need to roll a roll a d5.
He just has.
Oh, you
he
have.
needs to roll a D.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you need to roll
yeah,
a d3. That's how I should have rolled it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's clever. That's clever. Sorry.
I shouldn't have rolled a D5 really, but
Nat 5, Nat 3.
Unger nods his head. Shamash takes it. Unger takes the only other oyster off the tray for himself, and then extends the tray towards Lambert Ossel.
And as he does that, Abod is then holding his oyster up, nodding intently at Lambert.
Lambert kind of
Nubs is
holds his
sweating.
head. What should we? I don't know. Do you toast with this?
I think that could be done.
Oh,
What shall,
Kamara?
we toast? What shall we toast to you, Abad?
Restoration.
Restoration. Bottoms up.
Reparations.
Reparations.
And Lambert also hooks it back, and he kind of looks, shakes his head. Oh, it is a bit. Oh, doesn't go down as well as I thought, eh?
That's why you need to chew, and Shamash just crunches the whole thing like skeletal.
While all this is happening, Nubs has flicked his oyster on the floor and is just holding the empty shell. He's put his foot over where the oyster is so no one can see it. So he's just. Yum!
Unger's eyes are squinting, kind of like when the chap eats the lemons in The Simpsons, the guy from Shelbyville,
Yeah.
trying to keep it down.
Abod's neck is staring directly at Lambert and like wallows and continues to stare directly into his eyes. So, Lambert, what brings you here this evening?
I'm here to talk business. I'm here to meet Gungeon Rockseeker tonight. I have a business proposal that he is to present to me.
Undren? Rockseeker?
The one and the same. He owns a mining company in Phandalin.
Mining.
Yes. Why is that so peculiar to you?
I'm surprised a noble would dirty his hands with such things as rock.
I'm not the one doing the mining.
Still, to invest in such a thing of peasants. Rash is clearly trying to embarrass him.
And he just stares back at you. And what is your line of business, my friend?
Oh, my business. You think I would dirty my hands with such things? Why, I just wander around, doing what I please, where I please. You know, there is a village in the north of here that considers me a god.
Is that so? Abad, I think that you may have made a wrong choice in some of your friends. This one here is clearly mad.
Mad, or perhaps a genius. At this point, he turns around and walks off.
Can I do a perception check just to take a general, like, sizing up of Lambert? Like, how formidable does he seem?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that would just be perception.
Looking at Lambert also, he is, as you remember, he is not like, he doesn't seem bulky or strong as such, but he is as conniving as you remember him to be.
Is it really?
He fucked your mother. After all.
Dickens.
The thought of it, yeah.
His
You can still
tone,
hear the echoing down the hall as a young boy under your covers.
his
Seems to
tone,
be
In my
really
childhood bedroom.
his tone is. It's aggressive without being aggressive. It is sharp. It is pointed. The way that he angles words, you find that they like pull on your senses. They frustrate you, but they at the same time scare you. He's not formidable in his body, but you know he's formidable in his mind.
Well, Lambert, perhaps we'll meet at cards later.
It would delight me to play cards with you again, Abot. Good to see you, and good to meet all of you. He just kind of nods his head, looking at all of you. Enjoy your evening.
Nub answers in Gnomish and says, cough break.
Is
Bless you.
Magna Randus like there with that conversation?
No, so Magna Randus has just kind of stayed set at the back of the room, holding this coat that you can only imagine is Lambert Oswald's coat.
Okay.
I was just going to say, as soon as Lambert Ossel leaves the group, Unger very quickly ducks down to Finn and said, "Did we activate coin?" With wide eyes.
When he ate it, right?
It's magic.
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
think that's how the coin works, boys, says Nubs, overhearing what's going on.
It's fine.
How? Unger's not convinced, and he's just kind of looking off into the distance, trying to figure it out, but it's just can't wrap his head around it.
Finn's
They did
looking
say-
hardly panicked, but assuring himself it's fine.
Well, he was a bit of a prick, wasn't he?
I don't like it.
Me neither.
Rash, having
Hey,
wandered
he-
away for a little bit, comes back and says, "What a charming fellow!
My
What
friends,
a jolly good chap."
I feel I must be honest with you. As I might
But
have
you're always
mentioned,
on his day pot.
I can't lie, actually, it's a thing. I may have mentioned once or twice my lineage. You might remember I'm the Baron of Helmsdale, and my father was a Duke, and you might remember my horse, who's my great-grandfather. He was actually the first Duke of Helmsdale.
Not a very long line.
Wait, Baron or Duke?
But my father's a Duke, I'm a Baron. It's best not
That's
to dwell on
right.
that too much.
Yeah.
He's landed.
Right.
I was due to inherit. I'm also a Baron. Don't worry about that. Anyway, many years ago, about 5 years ago, I played a game of poker with that man. He's my father's nemesis' son. And I was very drunk. And I was a bit of a fool back then. You'll know I'm much more of a mature, quite wise man now, I would say. And I made a very, very poor decision in the bet. But I've never quite been able to shake the idea that he cheated me. And to be honest, I think that he did. And one day, I will have my vengeance.
Perhaps could cheat him.
In this life or the next day, Avard?
Preferably this. But I
Maybe
think his
some
father is a necromancer, so don't want to cut that too fine.
necromancers.
A necromancer, you say? What
Quite a powerful one, if I believe.
necromantic magic, you say?
Yes, with the corpses and that.
Finnan looks intrigued.
I say we try and get your home back, Abod. Lest we not rest upon our honour as the low profilers.
As
There's Nubs
as
alone in the middle of the
Nub
group.
shouts it, Finnan turns back into his normal clothing for the party, no longer in serving gear, and goes, Huzzah!
Hey, Finnan, where have you been then? Rash being an aristocrat doesn't notice servants. Like, they're basically invisible to him.
Almost invisible.
Inspiration.
Pretty good, yeah. Give it inspo for God's sakes.
That's what.
And while this all is happening, Medica has been standing about 5 plus meters away, observing what has happened this whole time, just staring intensely. And then one passerby walks across the camera, and then Medica disappears. And then the camera pans to the right, and he's eating some food off the table.
Now, it is about this time that, as you all kind of stand, Abard's stunned silence, and Finnan, imagine looking over your shoulder at Magna Randerson just kind of standing there idly.
Big time.
The elf, Diraxia, walks over and taps a bell and rings out through the hallway. And the music comes to a close. And you hear the kind of like the murmur of all the crowd begin to silence, and you see Zeller and Roaringhorn with a staff now kind of hobbling over towards the staircase, and he walks over and stands by to the side of the sculpture, and the murmur of the crowd dies lower, and he stands there. Feels a bit weird without any tunage.
Balance is restored.
Final wails from the crowd.
Yeah.
Finally. Wind down.
I'll just whack something on in the background because it feels a bit weird not having any tunes at all. I thought it would be a bit alright, but no. Now, Zeller and Roaringhorn walks over onto the staircase, and he kind of takes you all in for a moment, and the crowd really dies down now, and his eyes kind of cast around the room, and he takes you all with him. My friends, I welcome you to the 173rd meeting of the Minds. My great-great-grandfather founded this meeting as a means to incite change within our society, bringing minds together, of those who did not necessarily always agree, to discuss, debate, and move our thinking forward. And I am proud of the achievements and role that this gathering has played over the years on our ever-evolving societal sphere. Without the meeting of the minds, there would not have been the movement of the abhorrent slavery of gnomes in the ports of Luskan of 1426.
Says Nubs.
The pressure to install the Clean Water Act of Neverwinter, providing drinking water to those in the lower classes of this, our fine jewel of a city. The approval of the renewed mining in the hills of Phandalin. And you see Gungeon Rockseeker nod his head deeply. And the joint treaty between our coastal ports and the birth of the Sword Coast Seafaring Assembly. There are many more. But tonight, I encourage you all to think just as lofty. You know that we all face challenges. Our society is in a different need than it was even just a month ago. I know that some of you have been here before. However, there are many of you who are new, and I say welcome. But to reaffirm our rules of engagement, civility and decorum must be kept at all times. You may disagree with someone of a reason that may be... you may disagree with someone, but the reason and the answer is not violence. We consider healthy debate in order to find some meeting in the middle. A way to move things forward. Now please, enjoy your drinks. Dinner will be served in a few hours. Meet with those who you must. I bid you a good meeting. And the crowd leverages into an applause, and everyone starts to circulate. And with this, oh god, it got evil.
They all put on their goat masks. Eyes wide shut.
Where's Hillary Clinton?
The greater good.
Oh shit.
Risky jugglers.
Bring forth the whores.
Slay
Why,
the firstborns.
And with that, Diraxia, the elf, walks over to you all as a group. She approaching you. My master will meet you all now if you will follow me. And you see Roaringhorn kind of walking up the stairway, and around past the sculpture. Please follow me. Now, I'm gonna do a time check. Shall we leave it there for now?
Yeah, I'm happy to leave it there.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
I
it's
think a
like
good place to leave it.
Yeah.
Pretty late for me, so yeah.
Any final roundups from anyone as we start to make our way from the hallway to the upstairs? Anything you say to each other as you pass through the crowd or up the stairway?
So we'd better ask about Arthur Simbar. Surely, that is why we came here in the very first place. Before that strange
Fair
bear
enough.
attack.
It's the only mission on my mind.
Arthur Simba. Like, sort of just airdropping it to the crowd as we're walking towards the stairs.
I think we're going to ask Roaringhorn about that.
It is strange to see one of my folk from so far away in such a strange place. I will be certain to ask him of his heritage and his lineage.
Also,
Clearly, it
wasn't
seems
his
his
name
family have been
Marcus?
here for some time.
Do we spot Gundren as we're walking towards the stairs?
Gundren would be in the crowd. You can choose to walk past him if you wish.
I think I choose to walk past and go to the coin is inside the person and walks off.
You could have said inside the purse.
As you walk past and deliver the message, Rookard is standing next to him. And he's like, "Did you just say inside the person?"
Can Philip please give him a massive wink as he says that too?
Oh no, I'm already yawned, just like.
We're all chuckling as we go past.
Just all going up the stairs together, like.
Medica's
Except
rolling
Medica,
his eyes.
who's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Stone faced.
1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
Boga's laughing, but he doesn't know why.
Yeah, she's laughing because everyone else is laughing. He doesn't understand what's going on.
So I'll leave you with this. As you pass down the corridor, following Diraxia, you walk up to the top of the staircase to this corridor, and it is darker upstairs. Candlelight flickers around the hallway, and you see a range of portraits, landscape pictures. And Medica, I'd ask you to make me a perception check. You don't look at the pictures. You're not paying attention. You walk through the corridor, and you're intent on the door at the end of the corridor. Now, as you all walk down and through, walking into this darkened room, the smell of wood smoke clouds the room, justified by a roaring fire. Above the fireplace is multiple pieces of adorned artifacts, pictures, maps stretched out across boards and tables, strange symbols mapped around, but all towered by a notably large 20-foot painting over the fire. A depiction of what looks to be a lighthouse, lost in a storm, waves beating up a cliff, and a great light shooting out. In a high-backed chair, Zelleran Roaringhorn looks back at you all, a glass of wine in his hand, and he watches you as you walk in. He gestures over to a table and a number of chairs all sat around. A number of empty glasses and tumblers, bottles of wine, ale, spirits sit on the table. As you all sit down, he leans forward and he stares into each one of your eyes in turn, sitting back in his chair. He opens his mouth and says, "Who are you? What has brought you to this place? And what do you know of Artis Kaimba?" And we will pick up from there next week.
Nice. I was really hoping that when he said, and he opened his mouth, and
And which one of you
He's
has
been
been
poisoned
fucking
by
the
a
maid
dart.
in the room?
Oh, there he
is.
goes. Yeah, there he goes.
Perfect timing.
Bar of.
I mean, to be fair, the song is called Decadent Noble Party or something like
Yeah,
that.
Okay.
I was actually looking it up to see if anyone else had like written about
Yeah,
it
there you
on
were.
sort of like on Reddit or some other forum, but I never noticed someone getting fucked in the background.
This
What were you
Michael
searching
Belfry
for,
guy
Joe?
like produces so much stuff for D&D. It's great, but I never noticed that when I've been listening to this in the car, like practicing the dialogue. And I was like,
Now it's ruined.
Or
never
if he's on
heard
Twitter,
that
we
before.
can. Oh, he is on Twitter. We can.
Yeah, he
What's
will
the
be.
fuck noises in this song?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
That's
very
amazing.
decadent.
please,
I
bro.
didn't hear it at all.
Just change the name of your account to Elon Musk to pay £8. Whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Mm.
Then I'll have to answer.
Oh, I've only got. I don't know. I only use Twitter just for following sports. So. It's great.
Bro, use it for hard beefing musicians.
I'm stopping recording.